Так. Отправляем. Осталось у нас 15 минут. Здравствуйте всем. Как у вас жизнь? Как у вас дела, ребят? Прикольно, кстати, у них тут мелодия, мне всегда нравилась. Так, надо это. Знаете что, поскольку 15 минут осталось, мы кое-что сделаем. Как и вчера. Вчера мы смотрели твою мать, этих ксивовцев. Я хотел посмотреть еще Future Game Show, но мы, может, потом посмотрим. Что там? Там вот ничего прям супер не показали. Вроде что-то есть. Чего-то там должно быть. Сейчас я думаю, вот так вот правильно. Если я вот так поставлю. Блять, как-то. Ладно. Вот так вот. И нам еще надо. Так. Твою мать, что нам еще добавить-то? Так. Опа. И нам еще надо. Так. Добавим. Там посмотрим, как дело пойдет. А, блин, я забыл точечку поставить, идет. Так, надеюсь, что успею. Надо бы зайти бы на этот стримчик. На мой стримчик. Публиковать. Блин, почему-то у меня вот все нормально. Так. Что я хотел? В смысле, а я что не отправил? Я же отправлял. Да? Ну, блять, ну ты чё? Не тупи, пожалуйста. Блять, ты сука. Да, мы не будем вопросы возьмем. У меня еще есть и время, конечно, на кое-какие вещи. Прикольно. Так, давайте сделаем. Новости прикольненькие, так слушать. Так, знаете, что я хотел? Поскольку нам еще ждать, я не знаю, сколько. Вообще, они должны начать бы, типа, они что-то не так. Я хотел пока зайти на Киноман посмотреть, там просто он выпускал, он же за 10 лет свой празднует и все. Так, что там у нас? Ладно. Так, тогда мы сейчас пока, наверное... Боюсь, интернет будет лагать, но мы попробуем. Знаете, что сделаем пока? Посмотрим киномана пока. У меня же время есть еще. Чуть-чуть у меня время есть. Там как раз. Давайте посмотрим. Steam надо закрыть мне. Мне он нахрен не сдался, мне он бесит. Давайте посмотрим, что он там выпустил. Надо вообще писать проклятие слоненка будет сегодня. Вот 28 октября 2015 года создает телевизионный дебют киномана на канале. Понятно. 4-й выпуск. Я, кстати, не знаю, что такое рубрика. Я и не смотрел с разговора, я смотрел только Дэнди Хрониклс на кухне и всякие эти фильмы вышли. Так, ну. Я думал, видео залагал. Классика жанра номер 1. Эфир 28 получается, октября.
Олдскул, привет! В середине 90-х в ассортименте было немало видеоигровых приставок, но номером один среди них была Dendy. Она могла быть такой, или такой, или такой. И в общем самой разной, ибо в народе все эти версии назывались не иначе как Dendy. Чем же гейминг на Dendy во времена 90-х отличался от гейминга на ней сегодня? Главным образом тем, что тогда все, что поставлялось нам из игр, продавалось под видом лицензии. Все желтенькие картриджи и игры на них считались у нас оригинальными и подлинными, о чем нам многократно твердили по телевизору и со страниц рекламных журналов. Сейчас же мы прекрасно знаем, что вся 8-битная продукция привозилась к нам не иначе, как из китайского подполья, и что многие из игр также являлись низкосортными произведениями неизвестных хакерских студий. Наравне с «Русалочкой» мы играли в пиратского Аладдина, наравне с Чипом и Дейлом в Чип и Дейл 3, наравне с Марио вообще страшно вспомнить во что. Поэтому в нынешнее время отделить зерна от плевел гораздо проще. В 2000-х годах вторую жизнь видеоиграм прошлого подарили эмуляторы. То есть компьютерные программы, позволяющие запускать на вашем ПК старенькие игры от Dendy или Sega, образы которых быстро научились снимать с железных картриджей многие умельцы. Именно в эти годы до нас с вами дошло осознание того, что Dendy это не более чем клон японской консоли Famicom, или же американской NES, в которой 80-е и 90-е успешно игрались большинство геймеров всего мира. В странах СНГ об этом практически никто ничего не знал, как и о том, в каком виде уже хорошо знакомые нам игры существовали за пределами нашей страны. Именно обо всем об этом мы и поговорим с вами в рубрике «Классика жанра», но уже в следующих выпусках. А пока берегите классику и не давайте воспоминаниям остыть.
Классика жанра. Так-то. Классика жанра номер 2. Эфир 25.11.2000. Ну, это 25 ноября.
Олдскул, привет! Помните ли вы такую игру на Dendy, как Contra? Один из самых популярных и драйвовых 8-битных шутеров жанра Run and Gun. Эта игра была мечтой каждого пацана в 90-х, кто хотя бы раз поиграл в нее. 8 уровней, полчища врагов, укрепленные базы, непрекращающиеся взрывы, офигенная музыка и море дендевского драйва. Настоящий щит. Казалось, в ней есть все и лучше быть не может. Но кто бы мог тогда подумать, что та версия, в которую мы все играли, была на самом деле урезанная. Contra, как и все остальное на Dendy, издавалась у нас нелегально, и в том виде, в котором мы все ее хорошо знаем, пираты сперли ее тогда у американцев с их NES. Но американская контра не являлась первоначальной, а была переизданием японской игры Контора, выходившей на Famicom. В этой версии можно увидеть то, чего мы никогда не видели на Денди. Первонаперво это сюжетная заставка, рассказывающая о появлении пришельцев на Земле в 2631 году. Карта местности и расположенных на ней всех игровых зон. Графическое дополнение в виде анимации ветра на 1-м уровне, снега на 5-м, инопланетной массы на 8-м. А также удлиненная финальная заставка, в которой можно увидеть, как ребята из отряда Контра садятся в вертолет перед тем, как все взлетает на воздух. Ничего из этого в американском издании не было, потому что оригинальная игра использовала для этих фишек дополнительные графические чипы на картридже, а западным издателям они показались ненужной тратой денег. Именно поэтому игру урезали, удешевили и выбросили на рынок NES. В таком виде она досталась и нам, хотя японскую контуру пираты копировали тоже, но эти картриджи с полной версией игры в 90-х у нас практически не встречались. Впрочем, это не помешало нам с вами с удовольствием в нее играть и запомнить как одну из лучших игр на Денди. Как-то так на сегодня. С вами был Киноман, берегите классику.
Так, классика жанра, эфир 23 декабря.
Киноман продолжает раскрывать секреты ретро-игр, и на этот раз он добрался до легендарного черного плаща.
Олдскул, привет! Ждали ли вы в детстве каждый вечер воскресенья, чтобы посмотреть по телеканалу РТР программу «Волшебный мир Диснея»? С 1993 года в этом блоке транслировались многие известные диснеевские мультсериалы. Но самым первым и без сомнения самым популярным среди них был «Черный плащ». Тот самый ужас, летящий на крыльях ночи, неустанно борящийся с преступностью города Сен-Конар вместе с напарником Зигзагом. Хотя своей популярности в России этот герой обязан не только мультсериалу, но еще и видеоигре про него на приставке Денди. Эталонный платформер, в котором темнокрылой утке предстояло избавить от негодяев 7 разнообразных уровней и победить столько же главарей преступного мира, хорошо знакомых нам по мультсериалу. По иронии судьбы, среди них не было самого знаменитого антипода нашего героя – антиплаща. А ведь схватки именно с ним ожидал в конце каждый юный игрок. Однако вместо него на последнем уровне, огромном корабле, ЧП сражался с агентом Стальным Клювом, после победы над которым игра завершалась атмосферной заставкой уезжающего в ночь или улетающего на Луну Кряка Лапчатого. Сколько же после этого у детворы было разговоров о том, что на самом деле это не конец игры, что этот камень можно как-то перепрыгнуть, и тогда ЧП доедет до конца дороги, где откроется новый секретный уровень, в конце которого ему и предстоит сразиться с антиплащом. Вот кто бы мог тогда подумать, что эти фантазии станут реальностью всего через 15 лет. Благодаря эмуляции и нашим народным умельцам это случилось. На свет появилась удивительная расширенная версия Darkwing Duck Advance. В ней сразу после финальной заставки черный плащ попадает на новый, доселе невиданный уровень, который, кстати, раза в 2 сложнее, чем все предыдущие. И, как и было предсказано, в конце его пред героем предстает никто иной, как антиплащ. И все, кто так жаждал сразиться с ним в детстве, теперь могут наконец это сделать. Я же благодарю автора этой версии за воплощение детской мечты и за сим откланиваюсь. Всех с наступающим, берегите классику в новом году.
Классика жанра. Классика жанра 4, черновой монтаж в эфир не вышел.
Олдскул, привет! В то время как в России только достигали своего пика популярности 8 и 16-битные приставки, во всем остальном мире картриджевые игровые системы уже уступали пьедестал консолям нового поколения, использующим для игр CD-носители. Многие из консолей подобного рода были совершенно незнакомы большинству из нас вплоть до появления интернета. Например, Atari Jaguar, TurboGrafx CD, Philips CDI, Neo Geo CD. Кто-то, возможно, успел в 90-х пощупать Sega CDX или Sega Saturn, но в безденежной стране, где аудиокассеты и картриджи были значительно дешевле, чем CD-диски в обеих отраслях, рассчитывать на массовость этих новых и дорогих консолей не приходилось. Тем не менее, некоторые из них сумели к концу 90-х выбиться из разряда совершенно...
Привет, ты зашел. Сейчас будем смотреть конфу. Он должен через минут начаться после смотреть Киномана, 10 лет поздно своему каналу.
А я имею в виду именно консоль Sony PlayStation, то вторая так и осталась приятным воспоминанием из 90-х.
Надо бы посмотреть по красивому слоненку у него. Я давно смотрел его. Прикольно,
это
видео
была
очень.
3DO.
Даже не видео,
Обладающая
а
обширная
типа
библиотека
полнометражка
игр
фильм.
самых разных жанров, консоль 3DO, или как мы ее называли, Panasonic, потому что именно от этого производителя ее чаще завозили к нам. Хоть и стоила во второй половине 90-х около 1,5 миллионов рублей, это сейчас примерно 18 тысяч, но никак не оставляла равнодушными хоть раз поигравших в нее подростков. Своих
Никогда на
первые
3DO не играл, не
полноценные 3D-гонки
интересует
многие
консоли.
запомнили именно на ней. Кажущиеся революционным кинематографичными шутеры от компании American Laser Games после мультяшных стрелялок вообще казались чем-то невероятным. Кстати, в полной мере в них можно было поиграть при помощи светового пистолета. Но поскольку 3DO не имел средств региональной защиты, приставка успешно читала любые пиратские диски, что значительно ее удешевляло.
Это
Возможно, если
офигенно.
бы не PlayStation, то именно 3DO стала бы наиболее популярна в России среди дисковых консолей того времени. Тем более в нашей стране, где новинки видеоигровой сферы всегда появлялись с запозданием. Так что не забывайте 3DO и берегите классику.
Все. Так вот. Будем, кстати, он обещал нам выпустить еще видео, то есть вот это мы вчера смотрели. Вот это посмотреть, да? Не знаю. Когда у него, кстати, первый Слоненок-то вышел, я не помню. 30 сентября. Интересно, а почему он говорит 27 марта? Ну, неважно, ладно. Так, переключим все это. Там уже, по идее, должна у них конфа. Да, конфа начался, все. Поехали. Это, типа, здесь должны показать нам инди-игры. Это совместно Twitch будет.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the ID at
Как
Xbox
они говорили,
Showcase
ничего здесь
right
жрать
here
не
on
стоит.
Twitch Gaming. Now, I am one of your co-hosts today, Story Mode Bay, and I
Пока они
have the
пиздят,
honor
пиздят,
of being
пиздят,
joined by
пиздят,
the
пиздят.
incredible Trisha
Пока
Hirschberger.
они
Trisha,
пиздят,
how are you
пока
doing
они-
today?
Being joined by the incredible
No.
story mode Bay. This
How are
is
you
so
doing
exciting,
today? Yeah.
right? I'm doing good. I'm really
Уже 8
excited.
тысяч
I
смотрит,
mean,
давайте.
Brianna and I today are gonna
Надеемся
walk
на вас,
through so
на
many
хотя бы на
exciting
какую-то.
things. We're gonna
Блять,
play
какая у меня
indie
камера вот
games.
это
We're
ужасно.
gonna talk about
То есть
indie
вообще
games,
мыльцо
about
прям,
indie
вот
games. So on
посмотрите.
today's show, we're
Здесь
going
вообще
to
все
be
идеально.
showcasing and celebrating indie Xbox games, right? And we'll have so many
Я как
talented
не
guests
знаю,
joining
будут
us
ли
throughout
дальше
the
они
day to
продолжать
talk
так, то
about
есть они
their
типа с
games
Твичом,
and
что ли,
new
объединились, я
games,
что-то
but not
нихуя не
limited
пойму.
to Among Us, Moonglow Bay, Supot, Nobody Saves the World, Death's Door, and 12 Minutes. And each of our developer guests will sit down for a conversation
Сегодня еще в
with some
Якудзу
of
поиграем.
our favorite streamers and
Посмотрим на
creators,
шестую часть.
including
Навряд ли это
awesome
будет
folks like
слишком
S.T.A.L.K.E.R and Stallion83,
долгий стрим. Ну и еще
Dynamite
что-нибудь потом
and
заценим.
Technique and Blind Gamer Steve. So many fun folks. We'll also have special interviews with Chris Charla from ID at Xbox. And throughout the day, we're going to be dropping exclusive new game trailers as well. So if you're an indie games fan, this is the place to be. We'll have Victoria Tran from Innersloth. We'll be here to discuss Among Us. Gwen Foster and Trina from Chicken Club.
Где сколько у них конфа будет идти?
Lewis Antonio from Annapurna
Ну, комп у нее офигенно у этой девки. Вот видите, все светится.
We've also got Graham Smith and Ian Campbell from Drinkbox Studios. They're going to be here discussing Nobody Saves the World. Zach and Lou from Bunny Hug will get into all things Moonglow Bay. Mark Foster and David Fenn from Acid Nerve will talk about Death's Door. We have a packed lineup for you today, so it is going to be awesome. And as I mentioned, we will have that special interview with Chris Charla from ID at Xbox, which is awesome.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this. Now, before we do get started with
Вчера
the show,
конференция вот эта короткая к
everyone
сегодня
at
зашла
home,
людям.
please sound off in the chat. We want to know what you guys
Это
think.
один
I
из
mean,
самых
I
таких
already see the
просмотров
chat
стримов.
moving and shaking as it is. I am super excited about this.
Так там
So
мышка
without
есть, вот не
further
знаю,
ado,
может
I want
убрать.
to remind everyone
А
throughout
вообще, по
today's
идее, можно
ID
вот так
at
сделать, да?
Xbox at Twitch Gaming Indie Game Showcase, we will be
Чтобы не
airing
ебаться.
exclusive new game
Нельзя?
trailers for the very first
Да
time.
можно, я знаю.
Some will
Вот,
feature
видели.
gameplay updates to
Всё.
highly anticipated indie titles. Others will be brand
Нельзя это
new,
в штанах,
never before
нельзя это в
seen
штанах
game trailers.
ковыряться только.
But that's not all we have. So make sure you stay tuned throughout the show and share your reactions
Так,
in the
мышку,
Twitch chat. So,
мышку не видно,
everyone,
заебись.
let's go ahead and get into it. First up, we're dropping some new gameplay trailers. Let's take a look.
Первая игра. А, это Киберпан... А, нет. А, это игра про этих динозавров, точно. Или что это? Что это такое? Подождите. Это не про динозавров та игра, которую нам показывали, но она в раннем доступе сейчас. Какой-то типа какой-то Call of Duty. Я хрен знает на самом деле. Как-то тиховато, да? А это, кстати, не похоже на индишатину. Что совсем другое. Я, кстати, сегодня не вижу сегодня количество зрителей. Извините, ни лайков, ни зрителей, вообще ничего не вижу. Тут, кстати, довольно много этих бесшумных убийств. Но я не со мной не понимаю. Что за киберпановский экшен, блядь? Шутов какой-то. А, это типа как его? Смельчак, да? Вышел. Не, ну в натуре там какие-то смельчаки вон есть. На август 21 года. А он не выйдет на PC, получается, что ли? А еще одна идея. А, вот этот киберпановский экшен, который нам показывали. Он в этом году должен выйти, выглядит классная игра. Вот эту в игру хочу поиграть. Нам ее показывали в прошлом году. Я вот не знаю, в игре будет кого или нет. Как все будет, да? Похоже. В эту игру я даже купил бы ее. Но сейчас цены на игры так выросли, вон биомутант. Ну и понятно, что игра такая крутая, но 3500 стоит практически, это пиздец просто какой-то. Это Кера, кто играешь, как похоже, как Horizon, только в мире такой в стилистике Диснея. 2700, я охреневаю. Ови Кукет вышел, ну ладно, и там со всеми дополнениями, там, ну само 1200, блядь, пиздец какой-то. Не цены, а золото какое-то. Когда-то в 2020-м. Подожди, я не увидел, блядь. Там что-то быстро так показали. Это какой-то платформу. Когда в 2020 на Windows 10, в Xbox Game Pass будет, на Xbox One и Xbox Series. А, вот эту игру я знаю, она у меня на превьюшке есть, мы ее тоже в прошлом году видели, она должна в этом году тоже выйти. На превью стрим можете увидеть ее. Нам эту игру тоже показывали в прошлом году, я помню. Поэтому я туда и добавил. То есть они решили все игры сразу показать из всего? Ну ладно. 15 тысяч почти смотрят. 15 тысяч майки смотрят вас. Радуйтесь. Это ваша первая конфа в этом году. Sony провели, Nintendo провели, вы оставались. Блин, я хотел вчера Future Game Show, ну то есть сегодня Future Game Show посмотреть, но прикол в том, что я встал, блин, башка разболелась, и я не знаю. И трудно вставать, блядь. Было бы у меня время московское, ну ладно, там 0:45 еще можно было. Час 45 это вообще пиздец. Это вот так и получилось. Так, смотрим дату выхода. В мае 2020 года. А, предзаказ уже доступен. То есть уже можно игру предзаказать. Отходить нельзя, если отойдешь на 1 минуту, пропустишь анонс. Вообще на конференцию отходить, да, нельзя. Какой-то шутер. Ой, блять, анус ударил. Сука, больно. Я, кстати, не знаю, как завтра со стримом будет, но завтра в обед надо будет стрим. Тут. Если это все получится. Не знаю. Эти выходные, они как вроде бы... Если последние выходные вообще мне не нравятся, они такие средненькие, пиздец. Ну да, высыпаюсь, но остальное все не так себе. Что-то с поездом связано. У них какая-то конфа немножко странная. У них хоть дата выхода должна была быть, а они проебали. Блин, бред какой-то.
Kind of vibe from that. Brianna, were there any of those trailers that particularly jumped out at you?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of looking at, I think it's
Здорово,
called
кто
Wild
зашел,
at Heart. It
если
almost
что.
reminded me of Don't Starve a little bit. It looks like you're trapped in the forest, maybe with a friend. I'm very excited. I mean, Xbox came out of the gate swinging with this showcase. I am beyond excited to see what's next up.
Oh yeah, the first one that they showed, that Exo Mecha game, I saw some people in chat were like, is this like a mech battle Titanfall-esque thing? I mean, the cool news is that a lot of these trailers that we just saw, if not all of them, I might be mistaken on this, but a lot of them...
Они, кстати, на своем канале потихоньку сливают крылья этих игр, похоже, да? Ну да.
But bringing all these indie games to light is what it's all about. So Omni, we got to see a trailer for, and I've gotten to play a very early build of that, and it is so adorable. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up, and a lot of fun stuff here that we've seen already. It's been awesome. Brianna, do you play a lot of indie games on your Twitch channel?
I do. I kind of switch off. I mean, my favorite thing about indie games, honestly, is the art style. I am such a sucker for not only good graphics, but just visually appeasing games. And I feel like with indie games, you get so much of that. And also, by the way, I do want to remind the Twitch chat at home, please sound off. What game did you see from that last trailer are you excited about? I would love to hear it, and you never know, your comment could end up right here on the big screen.
Yes, I see Burnt Toast TJ, or Burnt Toast J in chat says, so great to see such wonderful support for indies. Yes, 100% yes. So yeah, that was Exo-Meko. I believe Ascent was the name of the second one. Omni, The Wild at Heart, and Void Train there at the end. Really, really cool.
Oh yes, I am excited. Oh,
yes,
I love that we're able to see this again.
Here was Exo-Mecha, I believe is what this one was called again. And this is the one that some people were comparing to Titanfall. I don't know, my first thought when I saw those mechs, I saw kind of the circular light design in the center of the chest, and I was like, Pacific Rim? Now, not all of them have that, but this is reminding me of every great mech battle.
Вот это, кстати, игра Call of Duty, она
that we have underwater.
пока непонятно, надо
grapple
будет.
hook. There it is, grapple hook mechanic in this. Is this the type of game you think you could see yourself jumping into?
See, I'm a little funny when I play games. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooter type games. However, the graphics are very, very nice. I mean, and it looks like it's action-packed. There's so much going on. Like you said, you're able to go underwater. It looks like you were shooting at a helicopter in the last clip that we saw. This looks pretty good. I might have to give it a try.
I love the folks in chat right now that are so hyped for the Among Us segments coming up that they're just saying this game looks super sus. This trailer looks so sus. I get it. But yeah, that was just one of the, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trailers already shown. And like we said, we've got a packed show for you today. So lots and lots of trailers coming up. But I thought Exo-Mecha looked super, super cool. That Cyberpunk one, I think it was called Ascent. I think the Twitter handle was at Ascent the game. That Cyberpunk one felt very like Shadowrun-esque to me in a good way. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I played through Cyberpunk 2077 and it didn't quite scratch the Cyberpunk itch in the way that I was hoping for. So maybe this game totally could. Maybe
okay.
We'll see.
Fair enough.
Omni just looks stunningly beautiful. Is Omni more the type of game you would traditionally stream?
Yeah, I would kind of look more towards Omni. Like I was saying before, Wild of Heart is definitely something that captivated me and caught my eye as soon as I saw it. So I am very excited. And I like that you said that about that cyberpunk feel because, you know, some people are kind of looking for something in that genre if cyberpunk didn't exactly do it for them. So I'm excited about these.
Yeah, I see Mundane in chat says, Mundane Salad says Shadowrun is greater than Cyberpunk. You know what? You said it, not me. But I don't entirely disagree with you. Very spicy take on there today. So folks, like I said, that was just a snippet of some of the fun that we have for you today, but let's bring in our first guest. So our first guest on today's show is the senior director of the ID at Xbox program, which has been helping independent developers self-publish their games on Microsoft's Xbox consoles for the last 7 years. And if you're wondering what types of games ID at Xbox are working on right now that will be coming soon to a console near you, well, here's a sneak peek.
Извините, пацаны. Привет, это я отходил в туалет просто. Что смотрю показывают. Всякие. Я пока просто не имею понятия, о чем это. Тут и стелс есть, вот и битэмап каких-то там нахуй. И какая-то странная нарисованная хрень. Как жизнь, молодая? Какой-то битэмап, блять, опять. А вот эту игру я знаю. Вот эту игру я знаю. Мы как-то играли на ее на стриме. Мне она не понравилась. Но мы играли у нее на стриме. Вот это я хрен вообще знаю, что это такое. Вот это прикольная тема. Хер знает, что это такое. Типа почтальон какой-то. Это как будто знакомая, кстати, игра. Может, играл, не помню. Пока не могу вспомнить. Адьюс.
Hello, Chris. Thank you so
О,
much for
какой-то
joining
лысый
us. How are
пришел,
you doing
Хел.
today?
Good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Хера у тебя там
Of
всякие
course, of course.
телевизор,
Now, for everyone
комиксы.
at
Вон.
home watching that aren't already familiar with the ID at Xbox program, can you explain a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we're a program at Microsoft that enables independent developers to self-publish their games. So they come to xbox.com/ID, they sign up, they tell us what kind of game they're making, and we send them dev kits. They start development, they make the game, and then they're the publisher. We try and help amplify the promotion with things like what's happening today, and then the games come out, people play them, everybody's happy. It's awesome.
It is awesome. I personally love indie games, and I think we've seen indie games have this not even resurgence, but kind of like just being brought more into the public eye in the last decade or so. And it makes it a little bit hard for some people to kind of qualify what is indeed an indie game. So I want to ask you, Chris, what are indie games all about in your mind?
Well, that's actually one thing we do in the program is we don't try and define it. In fact, I used to have a buster on the outside of my office that said indie with a little buster through it because I was like, you know what? Like I'm old and I spent the 90s as a punk rocker arguing about what was punk and what wasn't punk, and like we don't need to do that. You know what I mean? To me, an independent game is really all about creative control. If a developer has creative control, you know, they have that independence. But, you know, we have folks in the program who are single individuals, you know, one woman, one man making a game. We have studios in the program that are hundreds of people making a game. So we don't stress about it. Like, our focus is just on helping people get their games onto Xbox, helping get them great, and then making sure that players get to see them and have a good time.
Cool. That is incredible. Now, Chris, I'm sure there are so many amazing moments that you were able to experience throughout your 7 years with the program. But if you could pick one, what would be your proudest accomplishment?
You know what? I can't. The thing that like really gets both me and the whole team on ID going is really like when we're able to help a developer like. A lot of times, especially a first game, like ship that first game, and that like always feels great. Or when we're able to work with developers from like all over the world, like we work with developers in more than 100 countries on every single continent except Antarctica, is really cool. So it's hard to pick a proud moment, but maybe my favorite moment was I think it was E3. I can't remember which year, and it was right when we unveiled like the full Cuphead trailer. And I'd seen the trailer. I knew how good it was, and I'm on stage. I got the privilege of introducing the Moldenhauers, and the lights go on the Moldenhauers, and they go off me, and then the Studio MDHR logo comes up on what at the time was the largest 4K screen in existence. And I knew everybody's socks were about to get blown off, and just standing there in the dark on the stage, looking up at the Studio MDHR logo was like, I still get goosebumps. I have goosebumps right now talking about it. It was like, it was such a cool moment. It was such a cool moment for them and such a cool moment for everybody who likes to be, you know, just excited by games. So to me, that's like, it's one of my favorite moments in my career.
I remember that moment. I remember when Cuphead was first unveiled at E3 and everyone was like, what is this? And it delivered. I mean, Cuphead's a fantastic game. So what excites you right now? Like, what's the most exciting thing about the indie game scene in 2021, in your opinion?
Just the variety. I mean, we just saw on that trailer and all through today, we're just going to see so much variety of games. And you know, it used to be that I think when people heard the word indie game, there was this thought of like, okay, this is side-scrolling pixel art. And there's still a lot of great side-scrolling pixel art games, but there's everything from first-person shooters to, you know, every genre under the sun, new genres nobody's ever thought of before. And to me, what's so exciting is these games come from everywhere. Right? I think there's a game, I don't want to give it away, maybe it's a review, but there's a game we're going to see in a little bit from two devs in the Philippines. It's really, really neat. Despelote, which was just in the trailer. An airport for aliens run by dogs where you like go around and interact with like clip art dogs that are rotating. Like those are all super cool. And then you have games that just come out of nowhere, not really out of nowhere, but like Shotgun Farmers, which is a game that launched on Xbox and was from one person and dominated the sales charts on Xbox for like a couple weeks. It was like the #1 game on Xbox. And that is just so cool that the world today like enables that kind of thing to happen. So that's what I love. I just love the variety.
Mm-hmm. I'm always amazed learning at some of the sizes of some of these development companies. Does it blow your mind what's
15 years ago? So that's awesome to see. And it's also been awesome to see how things like Game Pass have enabled so many players to experience so many games. It's just really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is super cool. And I, for one, love being able to jump on Game Pass and try something completely new because it's worked into that program. And we will definitely see games today in the ID at Xbox program that are available on Game Pass, but not all of them that we'll show today are, I don't think. Isn't that correct, Chris? It's some of them.
That's right. Yeah, it's a variety. You know, games like, you know, I'm trying to think, like, off the top of my head, Genesis Noir shipped recently. That was a Game Pass game. But Shotgun Farmers, not a Game Pass game. You know, and there's a huge amount of variety that's in Game Pass, which is fantastic. And there's a huge amount of variety of games that are, you know, not in Game Pass. So it's just great. Like, there's just a tons to play, and that makes us feel really good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Where do you think that indie games are headed next? So, say in the next decade or two.
That is a great question, and the answer I'm going to give is that I have no idea, but I mean that in the best possible way. You know, if you had asked me when we started ID, if somebody was going to come up with a game where you shoot shotguns and when you miss the shot, a new shotgun grows out of the ground, I never would have guessed that. If you had asked me, is somebody going to make like a game that's hand animated 1930s animation, I never would have guessed that. And so what I love about indie games is they're always surprising us. They're always giving us something new. And so when I say I have no idea what we're going to see in 10 years, like, that's what excites me. Like, if I knew what was going to happen, I might not be as excited. So yeah, I think in the best possible way, I have no idea.
That's really interesting you say that. I am kind of curious with these next generation consoles that have just released very recently. How has that transition been? Has it been kind of difficult or?
No, not really. We've been seeding Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S's to our developers for a while, and we've been really excited to see how many independent developers are supporting features like Smart Delivery, where you might have an Xbox One today and you buy the game, and then when you get your Xbox Series S or your Xbox Series X, you just download the updated version of it at no additional cost. And you know, independent developers are always surprising us, and so. Next-gen features, whether it's ray tracing or smart delivery, folks are taking advantage of them in really interesting ways, and so it's been exciting. It's been exciting to see the games, but one thing that we're proud of is that the transition itself for developers has been boring. And I mean that, again, in the best possible way. That, you know, they get this new system and they can start taking advantage of the power of it, but they don't have to get a PhD to figure out how to use it. And so, you know, that is kind of always our goal, to make it as easy as possible to ship so that the focus for developers can be on their game, on taking advantage of the hardware, not like fighting against the hardware and just being excited they got something to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in that context in particular, boring is fantastic for the indie
exactly.
devs, I'm sure.
Right.
So speaking of indie devs, what advice would you give to any dev teams out there who might be watching who would want to apply to ID at Xbox?
Yeah, just reach out. It's xbox.com/ID. You can see from today and from the 2,000 games that have come through the program in the last 7 years. We love variety. We're eager to support like all developers, especially if you're a new developer. This is your first game. Maybe you're not from the United States, or you're from a different territory. Like, please apply. We're really eager to help you get your games on the platform. There's a huge audience of players who want to play your games. I don't want to be crass, but independent developers on Xbox have earned more than $2 billion, like way over $2 billion in the last 7 years from shipping their games. And that just feels really good because it means that we have a sustainable marketplace where developers can have success and keep making their games. And so I guess that would be my message. There is a lot of success on Xbox, whether it's getting millions and millions of people to play your game through Game Pass, just shipping your game and having lots and lots of people play it and enjoy it. Please come aboard.
Нормально, не лагай.
Wow, Chris, I want to thank you for taking the time to spend and chat with us. But before we do say goodbye, can you let everyone at home know how to apply to the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Devs just need to go to xbox.com/ID, and you can fill out an application there. I think it maybe takes like 5 or 6 minutes to apply. And, that's the easy part. The hard part is making the game. But the part of building a relationship with Microsoft and everything like that, we try and make that as easy as possible.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so very much for joining us today. This has been so enlightening to kind of take a peek behind the curtain at how all of this works. It has been so lovely having you, Chris. If people want to find you online, is there a place that they can follow you personally, or should they just follow ID at Xbox?
They can follow at ID_Xbox, or I'm at IOCat on Twitter.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Chris, thank you so much for popping by today, and hopefully we'll see you here on Twitch Gaming again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Oh, that was so awesome.
Мы с ним
And
попрощались.
it seems almost simple for developers to apply. I didn't know that it was almost that easy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, go to a website, and it takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And I've known about the ID at Xbox program for years and how it helps indie devs get their games out there and get their games finished. And what an awesome program it is. But yeah, I also didn't know how easy it was for devs to apply. So for anyone watching this who has a game mulling around up here, even if it's just in concept phase, xbox.com/ID is what Chris told us. And fill it out there and see if you can help. If Xbox can help bring your game to reality and, bring it to Xbox
Yes.
consoles.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is-
I mean, I feel like what Chris was saying, sometimes starting is the hardest part, but to even put your foot in the door by applying to the program, I mean, oh my gosh. I know there's some developers in the chat watching. Go ahead and get started. I see you guys in there. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love, like I said, I've been following this program for a while. When you go to a convention like an E3 and you go to kind of Microsoft's convention floor booth, like their section of it, there's always an ID at Xbox section. And whereas a lot of people go in and kind of look for the big AAAs, I'm usually scanning the floor for the ID at Xbox section because that's where I'm going to go and find the games that, like you said, Brianna, if you're in it for art style, if you're looking for like the game that brings out all the feels that you need to have a tissue box handy for, if you're looking for those fantastic scores and compositions, a lot of times that's where I'm like, ooh, I will find something really unique that maybe I haven't checked out here, which is it's just fantastic. And, as we mentioned, Cuphead was an ID at Xbox game. There's so many, I believe Oxenfree might have been originally as well. So many great games, and I know people in chat are teasing and hoping for games that we will talk about a little bit later in the show as well. So don't worry, we've got lots of stuff coming.
We do. We have so much coming. But up next, everyone, streamer Kate Stark will sit down with the team behind the new game Moonglow Bay, which takes place along the peaceful eastern Canadian coastline during the 1980s. In Moonglow Bay, you play as an old rookie angler struggling to keep your business afloat while coming to terms with the death of your lifelong partner, sorry.
There's the feels,
But after exploring the world a little bit, you come to learn not everything is what it seems. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Ну, давайте посмотрим. Блин, знаю, что такое.
Well, Guppy, you did it. Your first catch. 40 years, and you still surprise me. I know this place seems strange. A fishing town afraid to fish. But that's why our new venture might just stay afloat. Because all those stories about the mystical monsters of Moonglow are exactly that. Stories. This bay is full of amazing new creatures waiting to be discovered. So we'll find them and share them with the world. Together. As long as this book is by your side. So am I. Welcome home.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach and Lou. Welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about Moonglow Bay?
Какие-то люди.
Yeah.
Пойми, что есть.
So Moonglow is like was said in East a fishing RPG slice of life set in the eastern coast of 1980s Canada, though fictional.
Yeah.
And
and it's in a town that people are afraid to fish because of mysterious things.
yeah, weird
going
sea
on in the-
creatures.
yeah.
Well, it starts out like a kind of scenario where the game is very regular, and you're like, oh, it's just normal fish. It gets weirder and weirder, and you're like, okay, what's actually going on
yeah.
here? People have these myths, and there's some truth to these myths, and so
Yeah,
it's a little spooky.
And you get to fish and you get to cook and sell and make friends around the town and build the town out.
So like while you're trying to explore the world, figure out what happened to your long lost partner, the town itself is going through their own struggles with their potential closing and inability to grow and survive. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a in tandem
Everyone
growth,
helping each other.
helping each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Now, without spoiling too much, what can you tell us about the town and what went into creating life in Moonglow Bay?
Oh, it does.
So the town is having its centennial, so it's gonna be 100 years old, and it's completely falling apart. It has no money. The town hall is closing, and you kind of like gotta help
Well,
it.
you moved into the town 3 years prior with your partner, thinking like, okay, we're gonna retire here and we're gonna just open up a little fishing shack. But then they go on their adventure. Your partner goes on their adventure to start up the shop, and they never come back. So now you're kind of like left alone. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And everyone else is also closing down. So you're like, oh, I need to like, I want this to survive. And
Yeah.
your daughter comes back and it's like kind of like picks you up and says, let's do this. Let's figure this out. And,
Let's fix this town up.
yeah. And
There was so much like I did so much research on my side, like doing concept art and stuff about Eastern Canada in the 80s, like going to like little groups and checking like people's memories and the photos that they took of the east coast of Canada. So
and also in the fashion, because even though it was set in the 80s, the fashion hadn't caught up for like 20 years.
yeah.
No, it definitely had not.
No.
Well, I mean, what inspired the story on Moonglow Bay then? Because it seems that you did a lot of research into it. So you must, like, and very specifically Eastern Canada as well. So what inspired that?
Well, I mean, I always like fishing games. I think a lot of us always very much like playing the mini games,
I'm one of those
fishing
people,
games,
yes.
and RPGs, and yeah. So it's just like it's one of those things. I was like, well, what if like this has to be feasible as a whole scope game? And I found
And with loads of other mini games that you
yeah,
can also
it's
play.
like Legend of the River King, like was almost like 10 years ago, almost 13 years ago
Yeah.
since it came out, and I was like, nah, this has to like we need to kind of like see what's feasible here. So
And like the story is like Zach and I met living in Quebec.
yeah.
And like my family has history with fishing. Zach has.
As a kid, I helped run a little fishing shop selling fish by the lakeside, and it was kind of like, you know, there's this connection. We're like, this is actually really chill. We wanted to make a game that was very relaxing, and this is the perfect kind of thing because fishing is pretty chill. And yeah, we just felt like it was the perfect environment to start off, and then we just from there started researching East Coast because we want to go into the ocean, get this vast space.
And also it was a little bit of wanderlust of mine because my dream has always been like I'm gonna go live in Nova Scotia. It seems like the most beautiful place, most calming place. So it kind of has that part as well.
Yeah, like that. That starry-eyed feel of like, oh, new town, beautiful, and
Absolutely.
that's why like one of the things in the game is to kind of build this town up and make it prettier over time.
So there is also a little bit of mystery around the story and around the town. Are you able to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, like a little hint, which is basically like there's a lore that exists in the world itself. It's not like the fish aren't typical. They start off typical, but as you get deeper, you get into different biomes. So like regular water is what you're seeing right now, but then like, it spreads into like these sulfur zones, these like heavy glacier zones, and you're like, this doesn't exist in oceans? How does this happen? And so it's kind of like the mystery of
that's
like,
also like part of the thing that is making people so afraid. Like people go fishing and they don't come back,
and they just it's completely
so
bewildering.
everything is kind of fueled by myths in the town because nobody has the courage to actually go fish and find out if the myths are true or not. So you kind of like everyone just gossips to each other. Yeah,
so you can go talk around. You're gonna fill up a journal to see what these myths that people have accumulated are, and then you can go and like see what truth there is to this, and like there's always gonna be like, okay, go to this location, you're gonna find this weird fish that's gonna like nibble at your ankles. You're like, wait, what? And so it's like stuff like that for the player to find out.
So more specifically on that, how do the game mechanics work? What can players expect when playing Moonglow Bay for the first time?
Yeah, so it's a core loop of going out fishing and then coming back and cooking whatever you've caught in your home, and then you sell it at your vending machine.
Yeah, it's a less intense mechanic, the selling itself.
Yeah.
The cooking is like a bunch of fun mini games.
Like Cooking Mama style kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the fishing is like you have several different kinds of fishing. You can rod fishing is the one that goes the most.
To get a little bed and a kitchen in the boat itself.
So you can go fishing
So you can go fishing out at sea for days rather than always having to come back to town.
Yeah.
I love the sound of that. Now, I know a question that a lot of our audience is going to be wondering and asking, and I am myself, can you pet the dog? Because I noticed there's a dog.
Yes.
Can you pet the dog?
You can pet the dog is going to follow you.
He follows you around.
It's your little companion.
His name is Waffles.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
Waffles! Oh, I'm in love with this game already. This is my new comfort game for sure. Lou, you were mentioning the art style. What inspired and influenced the art style for this game?
So Zach and I, like ever since we met, we did a bunch of like little mock-ups and stuff, trying to figure out like what game do we want to make, and it started from the principle that Zach does voxel art, and also like I wanted to bring something really relaxing. So one of the things that it doesn't look like it because it's all squared and it's like has a specific palette and stuff, but one thing that inspires me a lot on their direction is like Ponyo from Studio Ghibli, the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like as well as Animal Crossing, like in the old Harvest Moons from the GBA. So all those things that are very relaxing games that kind of slice of life, and
all the colors are much softer.
Yeah,
it's all intentionally like catered so you don't feel intimidated by anything, even if like our myths are a little bit spooky kind of thing. So
yeah, we kind of wanted the player to just like get home from work, in this case like finish work, and then like maybe open the game and just relax and distress from life.
I'm seeing a lot of people in chat mention that exact thing, so I think you're on the right track. What sort of playtime can people expect? Is it single player? Is it multiplayer? What do we think?
It's single player and
couch co-op.
Couch co-op.
It can be drop in, drop out. Like it's more of a style of like assist. So if you're having difficulty catching a fish, your friend can just like, or your daughter or anyone can just grab the controller and say, I'm gonna help you catch this fish.
And you can grab onto your player one and pull with them to pull the fish in.
So you go alongside the story and stuff, and the playtime.
We're estimating roughly around 10 to 12 hours. Depends if you want to be a completionist and try to get all the 100 plus fish in the game.
And all the side quests and stuff, or if you just want to follow
or if you just want to gun through the story.
Yeah.
So just depending on how players want to play. I love that.
Yeah, so the range can be pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what are you most excited as the developers? Experience when playing this for the first time?
For me, I'm excited to see how people react to the fish that they pull up, because we get really weird with their designs. And
I really love, like, for me, the whole friendship system, like how you can become best friends with people in town and they can tell you like their life stories, or you can help them with their little struggles and stuff like that. That is the kind of things that I love in games. So I'm looking forward to people seeing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Now tell us really quickly about scripting an indie game, and how is it challenging with that aspect of game design?
It's chaotic. It's one of those things that initially you're gonna have a like set idea where you're like, okay, you have this goal,
and it's gonna be so big.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a set idea that's massive. The scope is always gonna be huge, and then you kind of, as you're building out, you kind of build the first section, and then you're like, okay, how long is this gonna be? And then you play through, and you're like, all right, yeah, that.
And can we keep pulling out this amount of like story and work and dig it through the entire game?
Like, we've been making this game for over 2-3 years, and a lot of iteration has gone through, and we're just like, okay, we have to keep cutting.
And it's interesting because we also like we're still developing the game, and like as we develop it, we play it, and the storyline actually doesn't fit very well, so maybe we're gonna have to change it, and it goes a lot of work kind of goes down.
But the big thing is that we've always kept like the main beats of the game, and so long as you can tie between all of those beats, then the length between it is not what matters so much in terms of like how long that is. If you can tie them cleanly, then I think the players will always be happy with it because they're going to feel satisfied in the storytelling.
Yeah.
Right, and you were mentioning through storytelling a little bit earlier that there is a good amount of lore in the game, and I'm understanding that the lore is definitely playing a bigger role than I may have thought. Can you tell us a little bit about the lore?
The lore is,
it's hard without spoiling much.
Without spoiling too much, but like one of it is like the reason why some of the people in town are afraid is because the fishermen who die at sea their spirits are taken within the waters, within the ocean, and that's what manifests like these weird fish and stuff. Ooh, it's taken like from people's thoughts, and it's
like their weird thoughts and their weird imagination kind of brings up things in the sea.
Yeah. So, and that's just a tinge. I want to see more, but I also don't want to.
Yeah.
No, not spoiling is very, very good. We'll steer off of that just to get away from spoilers for a little bit, but how did your team approach replayability?
Yeah, so that was a little hard on the
story. The story part. It's mostly like we're trying to make different challenges in the fishing itself, even though it's like it's a relaxing game, but we still wanted to give different levels to the types of fishing.
Yeah, and it's one of the big things is that adding value to that replayability, and all the way we've done it is tying to that story. Plus, because the lore is so interesting to player base, every bit of thing that work you're doing, every added work you're doing goes towards that story, and you've got a lot of collecting. So if you want to,
that's one of the reasons why we added so many fish, because we want to like people to always have a surprise when they're playing the game. Like there's always something new, and like different zones have different new stuff for you to.
So you don't have to 100% all the fish in the game to complete the game, but you can keep going after that and learning more of the stories.
As someone who likes to replay comfort games like this, and I think I would classify this as a bit of a comfort game, I'm very, very happy to know that there is that option. Before we say goodbye, because this has been lovely speaking to both of you, how can people follow you for updates on Moonglow Bay?
So we have the Moonglow Bay Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook page. It's all at Moonglow Bay. And we also, the studio itself is at Bunny Hug Games. On Twitter. And also, there is our publisher that is also going to be giving a bunch of updates, which is at CodeSync, like
coat and a sink.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful.
So that's where we can find.
Thank you so
much. Thank you very much.
I know I'm excited to be taking these updates, and I'm going to be wish listing that as soon as I get off of here. Thank you so much for your time, and let's send it back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha Hirschberger.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you, Zach and Lou. What a fun look at Moonglow Bay. I mean, as soon as we got that little nugget of lore where people who die in the ocean, people who die at sea, their spirits and thoughts or whatnot kind of come to be in the fish, I was like, oh man, this went from peaceful fishing sim where I want to like romance different people in town to something entirely different.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love how Kate kind of called it a comfort game because it almost is a comfort game with, you know, not the death part maybe. I don't know how comforting that is. But it looks so adorable. And again, the art style for me is what really drew me in. It's almost like that pixelated type of look. You don't really see that too commonly in games now. And I love that, you know, they brought that back. And yeah, I'm putting it on my wish list. I need that.
Yeah, I saw people in chat saying it's kind of like Minecraft-y looking, but with upgraded graphics. At least that's what people were reminded of. And everyone was getting excited when they saw there was crafting in it too. So we learned different types of fishing, cooking mini games, sell everything in a vending machine, meeting different people in town, and just for Zach and Lou, like to be indie devs who kind of created this world, I'm sure it's just so exciting to invite people into the world and see what they do. Just like hands off, we made the playground. Now the ball is in your court,
forth.
which is really cool.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
I'm excited. I'm excited for them. All right, folks, we have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We have more exclusive trailers coming up. I see everyone in chat that's like, trailers. We'll get there. We have more exclusive trailers coming up, and coming up, interviews with the devs from Soup Pot, Nobody Saves the World, Among Us, and more. See you soon.
Они вернутся через 3 минуты. Ну ладно, ждем. Здорово. Тут через 1,5 минуты будет продолжение у нас. Не знаю, что сегодня будет стрим еще или нет, пока не знаю. Сегодня пятница. Вот ждем. Я снова перепрохожу Мутанта Манхэттен. Ну, Мутанта Манхэттен такая полная игра, но более-менее пойдет. Они даже, как я знаю, планировали продолжение, но игра провалилась, и поэтому надо когда-нибудь про нее что-то рассказать. У нее просто есть много минусов и много плюсов. Но на самом деле против Games можно было дать шанс, но этот шанс они уже не получат. Я тоже когда-нибудь ее постримлю, ну, как бы я ее проходил уже неоднократно, 2 стрима по ним был, ну, хочется иногда возвращаться. Поиграем в мультиплеер, наверное, как всегда, потому что в мультиплеере она, конечно, намного интереснее, чем я думал. В одиночку она скучная. Не, ну лучше, чем это. Ну, понятное дело, там какая-то студия принималась, малоизвестная, то есть они, по-моему, до этого ничего не разработали. И опытная студия, понимаешь? В игру многие верили, но проблема даже не в игре была, а того, как аналитики раскрывали ее. Игра должна была стать по трейлерам лучшей игра по чипах ниндзя в истории, а в итоге стала одной из самых худших. Поэтому игра и провалилась. После этого мы по черепах забыли надолго. Сейчас они к нам возвращаются. Че ты, Супер-паук, я смотрю, пока на канал, что ли, забил? Ничего типа там нету пока. Все, они вернулись. А вот эта Shadows, она в принципе тоже ни туда, ни сюда, но у нее есть плюсы. В кооперативе она довольно неплоха. Мне нравится совместно.
Twitch Gaming. My name's Trisha Hirschberger, and I am joined
Мы в
by
такое играли, а
fantastic
After the Shadows,
Dylan
ну,
Bay
так,
today
уж
to
ужасно.
tell you about all things going on the indie scene from the Xbox.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like we were saying earlier on in the show, we have such an incredible
Видишь, как
lineup
бывает.
for all of you. Coming
Мне
up
надо
soon,
совместно
Black
там
Gamer Steve will
Манхэттен.
sit down with
А,
the
ну,
team behind Soup Pod,
классно.
and
Видишь, как
later on
бывает.
we'll be
Вроде бы у
talking to
тебя, ты говорил,
Victoria from
просмотры,
Among Us. I
ну,
know
пошли
everyone
неплохо
in the chat is
по роликам,
waiting for
а
that
люди не заходят
interview
на стрим.
about the new map that will be
Так что
dropping
вот
in
так
the
вот.
game on March 31st. But first, we have more exciting game trailer reveals for you. From drifting across gorgeous rally racing landscapes to surviving the cold and desolate wilderness, our next announcements are coming to the Xbox platform soon. Let's take a look.
Так, какую-то игру показывают нам. Ой, блядь, что это за гоночки? Мутанты Манхэттена интереснее играть, когда ты играешь по сетке с друзьями. Там вот игра действительно хорошая. Прям идешь на сам последнюю на. А, подожди, мы это играли, это это игра, по-моему, мы играли в нее. Ну, похоже на. Это. Мутант Манхэттен интереснее, когда вы играете там вдвоем-троем в коопе, идете на уровень с шредером и последней сложности. Ну, правда, вот эта дрочильня на последних уровнях, вот что ее убило как раз. Потому что поначалу все круто, а вот под конец надоедают, потому что там враги очень сильные, их так долго там надо убивать. Вот Transform Devastation от них были, вот они были получше. Потому что там не было вот этой самой дрочильни. Я не знаю, зачем они это сделали, вот это и игру полностью убило все. Так-то она могла бы стать нормально бы игрой. Заигрался я в Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Ну, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, она, понимаешь, она довольно неоднозначная. В ней охренительная история, там даже такие моменты бывают жесткие. Но в ней есть, например, открытый мир, который не делает, он большой, но в нем нету ничего такого, чтобы, да, в эту игру, кстати, мигали, это было, кстати, мне даже разработчики ранний доступ давали, помню, если Максим помнит, а в нее за день до релиза играл. Ну, Dragon Ball, она такая на 7-8. Ну, нормальная игра, тем более это игрушка касательно Наруто. Я в Наруто не играл. Я с тобой когда-нибудь Манхэттен поиграл мультиплеер. Ну, для этого тебе надо нам будет скачать одинаковые версии и фикс, чтобы ее поиграть в Стиме. Вот. Нам сейчас надо вот черепах будет с Максимом пройти черепашки ниндзя 3 проект Манхэттен. Потому что второй мы не могли пройти, она довольно дико сложная, как и первая, кстати. Я не понимаю, что это за Зельда, что ли? Хрен знает, что такое-то. Я полностью прошел трансформу Devastation. Ну да, Devastation нормальная игра. Такая хорошая. Но мне особенно понравились диалоги Кибертрона. На Windows 10, Xbox и Xbox Series и One. Блять, понятно, что до Xbox выйдет, это же конференция Xbox. Сейчас опять куча триллеров пойдет. Охуенная боевка трансформеров. Да, там крутая боевка. Там вообще боевка в этих играх от Platinum Games офигенная. Bayonetta, Vanquish шутер у них хороший был. Этот... Легенда о Коре, ну, нормально. Но мне игра, честно говоря, не понравилась. Не знаю, какая-то скучно была. Metal Gear Rising. Вот я в игру играл на свече еще, но она такая интересная довольно. Она... Как она там называлась? От них забыл. Забыл, как игра называется. Я не помню. Сейчас, кстати, это вышел фильм этот «Годзилла против Конга», надо будет посмотреть его. Ну, я не знаю, когда надо Лигу Дисплея смотреть будет. Потому что это «Годзилла против Конга», это как бы продолжение там с путаницей. Metal Gear Rising. Ну, мне Metal Gear Rising не зашел. Не знаю. Вот Bayonetta была классная у них, и вот трансформеры зашли. Все остальное не так сильно. Дептилио, кстати, сдает ее. Это Раста еще и что-то там, фиг на чем. Астрочен, вот, да, вот эта классная игра на свече играла, она эксклюзив. Она очень интересная, там, типа на 2 игрока. Типа, там одним игроком двоим упадешь сразу. Сейчас они вот Bayonetta 3 делают. А, Неон Автомата, да. Но именно версия Зака Снайдера очень годный фильм. Мы на Твиче его смотрим потихоньку. Только первую часть посмотрели, потому что фильм довольно длинный. Но сама оригинальная Лига, она ни хрена не интересна, она довольно скучная. Потому что у этого фильма были проблемы. Если это разрабатывали, а в итоге получилось говно. А вот Зака Снайдера, она... Понимаешь, она не то что годная, там столько хэштегов сейчас люди ставят, хотя вы только на Xbox. А в марте 30-го предзаказ уже есть. То есть уже скоро выйдет. Это... Там, понимаешь, там сейчас люди ставят миллионы хэштегов на то, чтобы они выпустили продолжение. Даже у Мстителей финала не было столько хэштегов. То есть настолько люди хотят увидеть. Они ставят фильму 9, 10, 11 из 10 на то, чтобы Warner Bros. Сделал продолжение фильма. А Зака, надеюсь, 4 часа, да, 4 часа я знаю, что он идет. Я в курсе. Мы же смотрим Твича, я знаю. Потихоньку. 2 части посмотрели, нам еще, по-моему, 4 смотреть. Их же 6 там частей, они выделены. Ну а что ты хотел? Это режиссерская версия, то, чего он хотел сделать. К сожалению, он не смог это сделать, потому что его дочь, как бы, она покончила жизнь самоубийством, и он ушел от режиссуры, и, естественно, после этого он не мог ничего делать. Поэтому фильм посвящен именно ее дочери. Его дочери. Ей, по-моему, было 20 лет, если не ошибаюсь. Или 21, или 20 лет, что-то было. Сейчас вот вышел Годзилла против Конга, надо ее тоже посмотреть. Это такой интересный фильм, там прям экшончик, я ебал, вот, не хуже, чем Трансформеров. Майор Гром сейчас выйдет скоро, то есть Шаман Кинг выйдет, надо будет посмотреть. Вышел еще это, сегодня вышло, ой, вчера вышел это на Netflix, первая серия Доты. Тоже хотелось посмотреть. Модерку там выйдет, тоже посмотрим. А потом там затишье будет. Много чего смотреть надо, но времени нету просто сейчас. Не знаю, когда она появится. Что-то на этой неделе как-то время не так много. На прошлой неделе вообще зуб болел, на этой время как-то поджимает. Хрен пойми, что. Я от нее не тащусь, она мне надоедает. Вот в коопе, может, прикольно играть в нее, а вот в одному мне... Я вот поиграл 2 часа, все, я уж больше не хочу играть в нее. Потому что там дрочи, постоянно надо дрочиться, и это мне не нравится, естественно. Я в Манхэттене 5 уровней прошел недавно. Да там вообще можешь, не то что 5 уровней, там можешь выбрать любой абсолютно уровень, по факту. С какого угодно можешь походить. Там Манхэттен, она не длинная. Она занимает где-то часов 6. 6 она часов, прям занимает. Эта игра вот тоже выйдет скоро, у нас на 30 марта, но мне пофигу. Я не знаю, я хотел завтра в Watch Dogs Legion поиграть. Ну, посмотрим, потянет ли комп. Там Вальгалу взломали, тоже хотел сыгрануть, потому что у нее очень хорошие оценки стоят. Хотя на выходные, ну на это тоже, думаю, получится в черепах поиграть в вулканах. 3 игры там. Ну хрен знает тоже, что там получится. Сейчас вообще все как-то даже не очень.
And he was right there waiting for me. So the fact that they're making a second one and he's even smarter than the first game, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous.
Well, that was one of the coolest things about the first Hello Neighbor is that, you know, he would adapt to your play style, and the more that you would do runs, the smarter he would get. But now not having it only be your runs, but the entire community's runs that Mr. Peterson's learning from is frankly quite terrifying to me. Although I'm super
вот смотрю конфу, смотрим всякие игры.
With the other neighbors as well. That's super cool. I love that in Hello Neighbor 2 we get a little bit of a motivation as to why we're invading this man's house, whereas I feel like in the first Hello Neighbor you're just like those meddling kids.
Yes.
That are bugging
Don't
our
throw your
neighbor.
ball over in my yard again, and yeah.
Потом, наверное, еще
exactly
будем
that
смотреть,
goes.
потому что
Now,
там
I
конфа
was
была
going
ночью, я
to
тоже
say
не
I
посмотрел.
was very happy to see that Team 17 is coming out with another game. They're the same developers that made Overcooked, and even the style of the game, it looks very 80s and retro and almost futuristic in a way, which is super exciting to see.
Блин,
The first
все
trailer that we
кончилось.
saw
Не
with the
попить, не
car
пожрать, ничего
driving,
нет.
again, a
Потому что
beautiful
денег
art
нету,
style. I
жду
mean,
деньги, когда
wow,
будут.
these trailers are blowing me away. It is a great time to be a gamer.
Yeah, that first trailer we saw was for a game called Art of Rally, which got high praise from the folks at Top.Gear, and being a little bit of a car enthusiast, if you will, an auto enthusiast, I was like, man, okay, loving it. That's some high praise again for Art of Rally. Craftopia looked cool, and I saw a lot of Rust fans in chat when we were showing Rust Console Edition. So for our console gamer friends, you will be able to get into the world of Rust if that's your jam.
Я пока сюжет не прошел. А там сюжет, он будет долгий. И они ее постоянно обновляют, он расширяется. Там сюжет интересно, это когда закончится. А мне надоедает, потому что там надо ранг набить, чтобы дальше продвинуться. Это неинтересно. Я не фанат подобных игр, поэтому и мне не заходит.
Up next on the show, we have streamer Blind Gamer Steve. We'll chat with the dev team behind the new cooking-inspired game, Soup Pot. In Soup Pot, you'll be able to make food with a wide range of locally sourced or supermarket ingredients in traditional kitchens. Discover and learn more than 100 recipes while streaming your cooking on Cookbook, the in-game social media map. Okay, so we've got like a cooking game and a streaming game. Let's just take a look at the trailer.
Let's do it.
Когда я пошел красть небесную линию ночи, стелс мне напомнил Spider-Man P4 за April. Возможно, там что-то есть. Опять всякая болтовня, пиздец.
Hello. Oh, I am really excited. Hello, I'm Steve, aka Blind Gamer Steve, and to introduce our guest stars is what I'm here to do. It really makes me happy to introduce to you Gwen and Trina from Chicken Club Studios. Hello, Gwen and Trina. How are you?
Hello, Steve.
Я не знаю, что это игра.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, Soup Pot, tell us all about it. What is it? Tell us more. We need to know more details.
Я знаю Sekiro только, а не вот это. Sekiro пробовал играть, но я не прошел. Я не любитель этих жанров Dark Souls, все это, потому что это слишком хардкорно. Sekiro пробовал играть. Нормальная игра. Она игрой года уже настала. Надо было это, пиши, не торопись, а то нога непонятная нахуй. Я вон с первого раза даже не понял. Не торопись и пиши нормально. То хрен поймешь иногда, что вы пишете. Даже Google переводчик не переведет это.
And we want to replicate this way of cooking because we think it would be fun to play, especially we want to do the iconic cooking methods like using our fingers to measure how much water to put when you're cooking rice. Yeah.
That is so cool. And you mentioned we talked before, like. By the way, thank you for tuning in. I know you're in the Philippines and it's way past midnight where you are, so thank you so much. But I wanted to ask because you said that it was that the Supot is very Filipino and Asian inspired. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that inspiration is part of the game?
So actually, like Trina and I both love to cook. That's one of the things. And then the pandemic happened, and Trina and I were just like, oh, like we're not doing anything. Like we're just at home. We don't get to eat out. And then we decided to make games. So last year we released a demo, which was called Putahe ng Ina Mo Sinigang Edition, and then we looked in the streaming part of it, and people really liked it. So one of the things that we wanted is like Gia, we asked Gia to do sound design where she talks about she says the ingredients names, and
in a
that
really
carried
cute gremlin
over
voice.
into our actual game. Like when we saw how much people enjoyed the demo and they really like it, like we feel like we're filling in a gap where it's not too serious gaming, like it's not instructional, like we want to recreate as much as how you would be in the kitchen, which is you measure by feeling, you fix things as you go, things can get messed up, and like we just want to bring in that fun into the
Yeah.
game and make it a game. Like the fact that when you look at games in general, cooking game is always like a mini game, just like a side thought. And we both love cooking, like we both love food also, so we wanted to put cooking itself as the focus of our game.
That is so awesome. Now, we did see actually a little bit in that trailer that there's a social network in this game called Cookbook. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that ties in to the progression system in the game?
So Cookbook
Так,
itself, we
как они много
wanted a
пиздят.
way to wrap the game, and then it's essentially like fake Facebook where you could look in and then you have like tasty like videos, and you
There's
learn.
also the current
So
news.
yeah, there's also current news, and then essentially like you learn by watching videos of the game, so you also learn techniques like through a combo fighting system that we want. But then there's also an accessibility option where we've made it so that you could actually remap the controls so that you could adjust the game to your playstyle, and which is something
Yeah,
that
because I
was
was going
very
to ask
important
about that actually, because of course I'm an accessibility advocate and consultant, so accessibility is very much a big part of my life and what I do. So what are the other accessibility features that you're going to actually have in Supot?
So one of the things that like we really care for is like dyslexia. Like one of our team members has dyslexia, so that's very important to us. That was a very long discussion, whether we put in like QTE or whether and to balance that so that people feel like they're progressing in the game. Another thing is that Trina is designing, colorblind filters so that we make sure that the game is also playable to people who may not see the colors. We've added in like the reactions, like the lines, so that you have like sort of an indicator of what's happening in the kitchen. And then it was semi-incidental that our sound designer
ingredient.
Oda and Gia, like they just really made the game so well, like the sound design is so well that all the audio feedback really helps you play the game. Like you could play it also like by listening, and the fact that
Also
the ingredients shout their names.
Yeah, the ingredients shout their names.
That is so cool. I can't wait to be able to try that out. Now, Trina, I wanted to ask you because apparently I understand you're the queen of meme over there at Chicken Club. So I heard that you'd said that there's some really creative and meme driven achievements in this game. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to look forward to? And you mentioned to me earlier there's a 5-second rule achievement. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So our achievements aren't skill based. They're basically based on how much fun you have in the kitchen. So we have this thing where if you drop an ingredient on the floor and you decide to pick it back up and put it on the pot, the game will record that and mark that as an achievement for the 5-second rule, because you're still using the ingredient that fell on the floor. And there's also this. Oh no, I'm spoiling a lot of things. But anyway, there's also this feature where you have a fake neighbor in the background singing karaoke, and if you get too annoyed, you can just throw food at them, so they
Oh
stop
my
singing.
gosh.
Something like that. Yeah.
That is so amazing. I love that. So by the way, we should you should probably mention that there, like, you got to make sure that you have to turn the stove off, correct? You don't want to, like, that's going to be an issue.
You need to turn your stove off if you're not using it, because it's gonna Gwen is gonna implement a feature where if you don't turn off the stove, your whole kitchen's gonna burn. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you had also actually mentioned before that essentially there's going to be the ability to have, like, kind of different types of food from, like, locally grown farmers and holiday food. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So one of the things is that we have a marketplace in Cookbook, the social media, and then what we wanted to do is essentially, if you wanted to make, like, gourmet food, and which, like, almost all restaurants, what they do is that they source locally, and this is something that's very subtle. It's not really gonna affect, like, your experience of the game, but we wanted to ensure that the design of it also reflects that, you know, small, like, local farmers and homegrown organic ingredients are just better and, like, more fresh compared to, like, supermarket ones, just because of, you know, like, fast food and, like, waste and all of those things. So you don't necessarily feel that in the game, because you could buy whatever you want, and, you know, the no fail state and the you know, quirky insults that both Trina and I grew up with, like, that is how the game is. So I feel like it doesn't push the things that we want, but we've designed the game in a way that it reflects that.
I love that. Now, is this going to be like a solo single player experience, or is there going to be multiplayer in this at all?
Oh, it's a solo experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you can kind of go at your own pace. I love that. So I bet there's a lot of people kind of in the chat that are going to be wondering, like, when can we be able to get our hands on S.T.A.L.K.E.R on Xbox?
So currently we are aiming for August 31st, 2021. And yeah, like, that month is, like, pretty important for us. When the game gets launched, you also could actually play in a Japanese and Korean kitchen, because of, like, how close those culture us to what we're exposed to. So there are a couple of recipes, and then you could choose to cook in a Japanese or Korean kitchen also.
That is so really cool. I love that so much. All right, so thank you so much, Gwen and Trina, for joining us. Where can we be able to find more information about Chicken Club, you, and S.T.A.L.K.E.R?
We have a
so
website that's
yeah,
it's down there. It's chicken.club.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome.
And we also have a Twitter.
And
we also have a Twitter, Chicken Club. Yeah.
Chicken
and Discord,
Club, okay.
yeah.
Oh, there's a Discord too.
Yeah.
Just look them up on Twitter, look them up online. S.T.A.L.K.E.R will be coming very soon to Xbox. Thanks once again, and I'm going to send it back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you,
that was
Steve.
adorable.
Thank you, Gwen and
Thank you.
Trina. Okay, Brianna, are you a good cook in real life?
I've gotten better, yes. When I first started cooking, no, not really. But it's almost like trial and error. I love what they were saying earlier about how, you know, in their culture, there's no sense of really following recipes. It's just you let the ancestors guide you, and they'll tell you how much you need to add. That's the kind of cook I am.
You know what? I self-professed not a good chef, personally. And I'm watching this thinking, oh, maybe this will make me a better chef, much like Dance Dance Revolution made nobody a better dancer, so no, probably not. But at least it might make me have some love, you know, for cooking. I like the wacky stuff that they talked about, where like you can throw food at your karaoke neighbor.
Yes.
That sounds hilarious. Or that when you select food, or I guess pick it up, the food yells out its name when you pick
Yes.
it. That's what I'm in for. I'm in for the wacky stuff.
Or even they were saying the 5-second achievement. If you drop some food and as long as you pick it up, blow the dust off, and put it back on the stove within 5 minutes, you'll be good. It's fine. I'm excited to play.
5-second rule for real.
Yes, for real. Well, everyone at home watching, coming up, we will chat with Victoria from Among Us about the new airship map coming over to the game. And later, streamer Danotaj will have a conversation with the devs behind Nobody Saves the World. I am very excited. But first, let's take a quick break. Be right back.
Опять у них перерывы. Что за бред? Еще игры, да, у нас?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ID at Xbox Showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. My name is Trisha Hirschberger, and I am here today with Brianna, aka Story Mode Bay, and we're kind of like your tour guides through this event today, leading you to all the different sections of things that you will want to see. But we do have a lot of great stuff coming up.
We absolutely do. Next up, everyone, we'll be hearing from the creative team behind Nobody Saves the World, and they will be interviewed from none other than Danotaj. But before we get to that interview, we have more gameplay trailers to reveal. From the Battle of Normandy to the scrum of medieval combat, this next batch of games promises something for everyone. Let's take a look.
Что это за сторона игра? А, ну эту игру мы видели с вами. Возможно, от выхода будет. Как считаете? Тут игра, она какая-то такая стрёмная. Выйдет на Xbox, ладно, серия. Она, по-моему, есть на ПК, да? Да. Это игра, наверное, про этих все-таки. King of. Это же. Ну это чувак, вот 2. Чего тебя не перенесли? Чувак первая карта игра, в принципе, такая прикольная раса, мультиплеер, вторая не знаю. Будет 8 июля, да, вот написано, будет в апреле 23-26 за какой-то год. Ну, это неплохо выглядит. На Xbox Series Windows 10.
That was a
Oh,
peaceful
man.
last trailer. It was so
Yep,
calm.
XO1, the gliding sim. I feel
Yes.
like is what that is. If you need to just zen out. I saw Blank Arcadian in chat when we were watching the trailer for King of Iron said Assassin's Creed of Persia. And I just thought that was hilarious. But you're mentioning things that I love, Blank Arcadian. So King of Iron might be right up there as well. Brianna, did you have any of those trailers that jumped out at you that you were like, yes, I gotta play that?
Yeah, that first one, Demon Turf, I think it was called, definitely caught my eye. It's kind of like a 3D platformer, but what I liked about it is they kind of experimented with that 2D style a little bit as well. So yeah, I'm excited about this. Also, what I'm equally as excited about is our very next interview coming up. Up now, streamer Danotage is going to connect with the devs behind Nobody Saves the World. From the developers of Guacamelee, oh, I love that name, comes Nobody Saves the World, which is a twist on an action RPG in which you play many different character forms, each with their own unique gameplay mechanics. You get to explore a vast overworld, clearing generated dungeons in an effort to beat back the calamity and save the world. Let's check out the trailer.
А, ну это понятно, что за игра. Нет, она где-то в Steam была. Game Pass, Xbox Series и Xbox One.
Yo, wow, that trailer was awesome. I've seen that like 3 times now. It's fantastic. My name is Danotage. Hello, everybody. I'm joined by the lovely, lovely human beings named Grant Smith and Ian Campbell from Drinkbox Games. The lovely people that brought you Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2 now bring you Nobody Saves the World. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. That, like, I'm not joking. That trailer gets me amped every single time. I've seen it like 4 times now, and it's fantastic. The music's a bop. The game looks fantastic. Let's talk about it. There's so many things to get into. We don't have a ton of time. Let's dive right into it. What do you guys want to start with? We got all kinds of things.
Well, we can explain a little bit about the gameplay, how it works, and what we're going for with the game. So
yeah, please.
I guess Nobody Saves the World. Well, to start off, that naked gray baby that you saw that picked up the wand at the start of the trailer there, that's Nobody. That's who you start the game as. And so, like, right at the start of the game, you find this magic wand, which allows you to change your form into different types of forms. So the game is basically like a top-down RPG, action RPG, but as you're playing, you're progressing through this form tree, and you're unlocking new forms and playing as different forms and experiencing like completely different types of gameplay with each kind of the forms. So at the very start of the game, the very first form you'll unlock is you gain the ability to turn into a rat, and you actually use that ability to escape imprisonment. You get imprisoned at the start of the game. And then, so once you escape from your prison, you notice that the rat has this long list of quests that the rat can do using the rat's abilities. And when you start working on those quests and completing those quests, your rat starts to rank up and gain new abilities, and you also unlock additional forms that you can switch to, which have their own list of quests. So slowly throughout the game, as you're playing, you're unlocking new character classes, which we call forms, and exploring those different gameplay mechanics with the different forms, unlocking new abilities, unlocking more forms. You can see a little bit of the form tree in the video right now. You can see the player just turned into the rat. Yeah, so in a quick nutshell, that's kind of what the game is about.
So the forums, it sounds like it's good for you showing exploratory stuff and being able to kind of puzzle solve a little bit. I assume there's a lot that goes on with how your gameplay is going to be with combat and such.
Yeah, absolutely. Like every form has their own play styles and their own moves. Like some are about like applying status effects to enemies and taking advantage of that. Some are like real heavy hitters, but they need like long windups and they need an element of like timing to them. Some can fly, some can swim. There's like lots of combat and traversal mechanics. As you get further into the game, you can mix and match the abilities between the forms. So, then you have like a rat that can shoot arrows like a ranger, or a horse that's, like biting things and poison like a rat, whatever. So the possibilities are nearly endless, you could say.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, and I think that's the thing that intrigued me most. It sounds like there's sort of a kind of Lego plug and play, get to pick different forms and kind of play with them. Is there like how complicated can we get?
It gets pretty complicated. Like to start with, when you unlock a new form, the form's quests are all kind of like training you how to use that forms, because we want to ease the player into the new mechanics that are presented with each form. So it'll be like getting you to use your basic abilities. But then once you've kind of started to get the hang of a form, we start giving new quests that you can't do with the base abilities of the form. You actually have to mix and match, pull in abilities from other classes. So, like for example, if you're playing as the rat doesn't have any ranged abilities. The rat might get a quest to, use ranged abilities to kill enemies. So then you have some flexibility on how you wanna do that. That's a pretty easy quest to do because there's lots of options for something like that. But they do start to get more specific, and some of them are more difficult to figure out. Like, exactly how am I going to do this? And different customizations. It gives the player some room for creativity in trying to complete the quests that they're presented with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that was probably the thing I was most excited for when sort of hearing about this. Was it looks very much like, well, it looks like my jam, I'm gonna be honest, and it looks like it's a lot of chat's jam as well. So I think we're all pretty excited about that. But that sort of freedom to play within your rules as the developers, but also be able to kind of do things on our own and get pretty creative and play with like the tools that you've brought up. I think that's pretty awesome. Not to mention, I mean, just simply like Geopart says, the art style of this game looks amazing, and I couldn't agree more. There's just so much stylistic virtue to it, and it seems like it's you're taking a lot of inspiration from your past works, like Guacamelee. Can we talk about like what are sort of the things that maybe you learned in the past that you brought to something like Nobody Saves the World?
Actually, I mean, talking with the artists through the development process, of course, like one of the goals is to try and break a bit free from what we had done previously. I guess in terms of, say, like Severed and Guacamelee have a very like angular vectorized art style, but this is more like hand drawn and like lots of lines and strokes and stuff. And we also wanted it to be kind of charming, but like off-putting. Like I know like maybe like Ren and Stimpy or like Garbage Pail Kids were referenced in the art team, where like it's like appealing but also uncomfortable. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
there's a little bit of grunge going on, and like you said, that hand-drawn art style is pretty unique. Because nobody does it the same, right? Not really, at least. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've seen some mentions, and something that I sort of came up just kind of watching it for the first time was a lot of thoughts of like it being a roguelite, but I wanted to drive home that it isn't a roguelite. It's very much an action RPG, but you guys have something very special, which is, I mean, do you guys want to talk about your dungeons a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, the structure of the game, it's kind of like you're exploring a large overworld, not unlike one of the older 2D Zelda games, but scattered throughout this overworld, there's dungeons everywhere. We have about 25 dungeons right now in the game. And all of the dungeons are procedurally generated, so and they all have completely different themes as well. So like we have some standard things like, you know, a prison or a mine, but we have a lot of really odd, non-standard things like you'll be exploring a UFO or a gingerbread house, or you'll be going inside of a dead dragon, like just trying to do some weird bizarre things. And each of the dungeons, while they're procedurally generated, they all have like different rules in their generation, so each dungeon does like have a unique feeling when you go inside of it. But if you do die inside of a dungeon, because, you know, the dungeons are going to get increasingly difficult. If you do die, you're kicked back out front, and it gives you a chance to try and create a new build to go back in again and try and be more successful with another attempt. And another thing we do as the game progresses is we start to add more mechanics to the game. So you can't just like find a form or a combo of abilities that is like ultra powerful and just stick with that for the whole game, because the dungeons will present different challenges. So you'll have to kind of mix and match, not only because you want to try and push down the form tree by doing quests as different forms to unlock more classes, but because some of the dungeons you just won't be able to do with certain forms because those forms won't be able with their abilities to do that. So, yeah.
And I was gonna try to find the most broken thing I could possibly find, just play it the whole time. Now I can't.
We still do some from time to time. We do like give the players some places where they can just put together their best, most powerful form, just because we want you to be able to feel that experience. But there are some builds that feel pretty broken, so we can't just let you do that all the time. Yeah.
Dang it! I mean, speaking of very powerful things. You showed a couple. It looked like bosses straight up from the trailer, and that's like where my bread and butter comes from. Is what I'm always interested in. It's like, oh, the dungeoning is like super fun and super awesome. But where's the boss? And what?
Блин, как же мне сделать так, чтобы не было этого слышно? Так, наверное, будет меня слышно. Так.
Through that I do. So yeah, I'm definitely checking this out. Chat at home, what are you guys thinking? Is there a game that you're super excited about that you've seen from the trailers already, or a game that you're looking forward to? I mean, looking at the chat, I have a good feeling about what they're looking forward to. I'm seeing a lot of hype for Stalker. I'm seeing a lot of hype for Among Us. I know what the chat is feeling like.
Oh yeah, but I mean, we've got so much to get into today, so let's go ahead and keep this party rolling. We've had so many great game announcements already today, but next up we have a number of titles never before revealed. Dun dun dun, that's right, new game trailers. Let's take a look at those now.
This is our world, or canon. It is a world gifted with magnificent and generous nature, albeit sometimes harsh. Besides ourselves, the Marios, our canon is home to the Pesca, the Zephs, the Arctons, and the Oasis.
Так, надо теперь.
Oh, we must not forget the Migmies. The Migmies bring our people together and carry around crates containing an essential ingredient for our society. This ingredient is called a harmelin. The harmony between our people depends on it. And last but not least, let me tell you about us. We are the demigods. Our mission is to fight and defeat the noises, the mysterious monsters that threaten our beautiful harmony. The demigods will not allow anyone to disrupt our canon's harmony. Demigods, ascend!
Где-нибудь на стойке зайти. Один батарея. Блин, ничего нет. Я боюсь, что это. Когда ж мне тоже сейчас нам вспомнить спуск. Давайте будем надеяться, что получится. Долго это будет, пиздец. Это будет очень долго. Хотя казалось 4 минуты, ну блядь. Почему-то он не хочет, у него даже не появляется эта хуйня. Почему? Зарядки, да? Ну это вообще долго будет. Надо было сразу посмотреть, а я что-то не успела. Там. А что у нас такое? Блин, что-то он вообще не идет, да? Что-то он не хочет. Что-то он не кинул. Действительно зарядки надо. Ну ладно, посмотрим. Где он должен перекидываться, по идее? Лучше, наверное, Wi-Fi использовать. А, это Engine 4, что ли? Я просто не понимаю. Да ёбаный вот. Сука. Блядь, съебало. Лагающий телефон, сука. Какой чистить все, блядь? Ты чё? Ебанул? Да. Во. Пошел. Быстрее. Не надо. Тут просто индистрацию нужно показывать. Xbox One и Xbox Series. Ну, как всегда, нахуй. Microsoft. Блять, 2 часа практически они уже
So much Last Oasis hype in chat. I loved it. There was a lot to love there. Last Oasis looks great. Lost Eidolons is maybe how you pronounce it.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, Loot River looked awesome, and I saw chat also very excited for some of those things. Lawn Mowing Simulator made me giggle. If you want a really, really intense, very accurate lawn mowing simulator, then that could be you. But Last Oasis is out right now on Xbox One.
Yeah, that is incredible. And again, like you said, there's so many fans at home watching. You guys go play, go download. It looks incredible. Now, I do have a couple of questions about Lawn Mowing Simulator because is there a story mode? Are you just kind of mowing the lawn casually? I'm interested. I have a couple of questions about it. But that last trailer for Loot River, oh yeah, I'm excited for it. It's almost like you're moving in a puzzle type of motion. It's like an adventurous Tetris, if you will. Oh, I want to play it.
Oh yeah, and the second that I see Super Hot Presents before any trailer, I'm like, yes, please, let's get that. It looks like it'll be challenging, mixing the puzzle play with the combat, and the art style looks cool. The second I saw the Plague Doctor helmet and like wiping the blood off the front of it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be rad. I'm into it. And Lost Eidolons was like everything I love about a medieval character creator with what looked to be turn-based tactical combat. I don't know if we can specifically tell that from the trailer, but that's at least what it seemed to me, which when you combine those two things, that is something I am definitely up for as well. It looked really cool.
Absolutely. Now, which one was the one with the guy and he was flying in the air? Was that Lost, or am I thinking about a different one? I'm trying to remember all these titles. They were so good, but that one looked exciting too.
Maybe Last Oasis. Last Oasis was the one with like the cool airships that everybody's pedaling, and it kind of takes place in a desert atmosphere. So it might be that you were thinking of. But yeah, really, really fun trailers. I'm glad to see everyone in chat getting hyped for some games. Next up on the showcase today, our next guest is one of the creative minds and developers behind the small little indie title that some of you might know, called Among Us. And on March 31st, a new map, the airship, speaking of airships, is dropping into the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the new map now.
О, новый кого-то монтаж. Прикольно.
Welcome, recruit. Get yourself acquainted with the layout of the top-hat airship. Enough slacking. Go do your tasks. You may need to take a ladder to get to certain areas, or maybe just take a nice shortcut. Quit grouping up. Choose a room to start in after a meeting. Someone keeps trying to sabotage us. Stop their plan. Keep your eyes peeled. We definitely have an imposter here.
Hello, Victoria. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. A platform that you prefer people to reach out on?
Вот.
Totally, yes. So you can find us on Twitter most of the time. So that's twitter.com/AmongUsGame. You can also find us on Discord at InnerSlothDads.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for stopping by the ID at Xbox Showcase today. Thank you for coming by Twitch Gaming, and hopefully we'll see you here soon.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you, chat.
Bye.
Yay. Oh man,
my
that was
gosh.
so fun. I can't wait to jump into that new map, and I can't wait to see what the new tasks are and, you know, how to adjust your strategy accordingly. I saw the people in chat saying Trisha is sus. Everybody always thinks I'm the imposter,
It's
even when
always
I'm
you.
not, and I don't know why. Apparently, I'm super sus all the time. But you know what? I'll take it, and then we'll adjust my strategy accordingly. And what kind of imposter are you?
Ну давай, грузись, блядь,
You
быстрее.
know, I like to say I'm
Там, блядь, по 3
strategic,
часа
but
нахуй грузит.
sometimes when that imposter title flashes across the screen, it's like I kind of black
Живее,
out a
блядь,
little bit.
быстрее,
Maybe
блядь.
I get a little hungry
Не могу
and
так долго
crazy with
ждать.
power. And I'm just like, yes, the first person I see, oh yeah, that's who I'm going for. And all my little plan just goes out the window. I panic sometimes. It's fine.
I try my best to have a nice, clean kill when you can like get somebody alone and then vent out of there real quick. But it doesn't always work that way. You know, sometimes you have a kill and then 3 other players walk in.
It gets
and
messy.
I've watched it happen. It's the luck of the draw sometimes, but the more clean kills, the better. All right, folks, we have so much more show left today in the ID at Xbox Showcase. Death's Door devs are up next, and then more exclusive gameplay trailers. Huzzah! And again,
Ну,
just a lot
показывать.
more content to show you. So don't go anywhere.
Куда?
We will be right back.
Не тяните резину, показывайте. Ага, через 3 минуты. Вы, блядь, заебали, на самом деле. Своими 3 минутами. Блядь, что-то оно долго, да? Может быть, повторить попыточку. Так, ну-ка. Сейчас, секундочку, нам надо.
Всем салют, с вами Димон, и в сети наконец-то вышел первый трейлер очень для меня долгожданного фильма «Отряд самоубийц 2». Ну, как бы вторая часть «Миссия». Хотя это не совсем вторая часть, то есть это не совсем сиквел того фильма. Всем салют, с вами Димон, и в сети наконец-то вышел первый трейлер. Очень...
Понятно. Да, так, извините. Теперь нам надо будет... Блин, ну, я вот не понимаю, скачивается оно или нет. Ну, вроде что-то идет еле-еле, да? Так, пока это... А, ну в принципе, пофигу. Самое главное, что работает, и все. Остальное нам не интересует. Да пошло оно все в пизду. Чего? Иди в жопу. Они там что-то пиздят.
Всем салют, с вами Димон, и в сети наконец-то вышел первый трейлер очень для меня долгожданного фильма «Отряд самоубийц».
Так.
«Самоубийц 2», ну, как бы вторая часть «Миссия на вылет». Хотя это не совсем вторая часть, то есть это не совсем сиквел того фильма, который выходил еще в 2016 году. И это не продолжение фильма вот этих «Хищные птицы», это совсем другой. То есть это типа перезапуск, ну, часть, то есть это не совсем сиквел.
Так, нам надо... Что у нас игры показывает?
Hello, everyone. Welcome on back to ID at Xbox Showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. Coming up, we have very special interviews with the developers from Death's Door, interviewed by S.T.A.L.K.E.R and Technique. Is going to be able to chat with the developers behind 12 minutes. Ooh, this is a good show.
But first, streamer Stallion83, like you said, will chat with the devs behind the new game Death's Door. So In Death's Door, you'll be playing as the Crow, where reaping souls of the dead is all part of an honest day's work. But the job gets lively when your assigned soul is stolen and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death, where creatures grow far past their ex-purity and overflow with greed and power. Let's take a look at this trailer now.
Ну, блядь, не идет что-то. Отмена. Давай нахуй. Что, как долго ты поклонился? Так, ну-ка.
Хотя это не совсем вторая часть, то есть это не совсем сиквел того фильма, который...
Говорит, ну не идет просто. Ну, почему не идет? Что за бред? Пошел в пизду.
который выходил еще в 2016 году, и это не продолжение фильма вот этих «Хищных».
Так, отлично. Не, ни в какую не идет, пацаны, ни в какую. Просто не хочет. А вот почему не хочет, я не могу вам сказать, к сожалению.
Который выходил еще в 2016 году, и это не продолжение фильма вот этих «Хищные птицы», это совсем другой. То есть это типа перезапуск. Ну да, здесь есть некоторые старые персонажи из 2016 года, но это фильм от Джеймса Ганна, который для нас создал диалог.
Так, ну-ка, отлично. Ну, почему не идет-то, сука? Ну что не так-то? Сейчас. Ну пожалуйста, блядь, у меня быстрее все сделается, пока я нахуй тут сижу так что. Так, блядь. Сука. Давай нахуй.
диалогию этих Страж Галактики. Очень классный фильм, поэтому давайте посмотрим, который для нас создал диалогию этих Страж Галактики. Очень классный фильм, поэтому давайте посмотрим. Трейлер идет недолго, очень сильно хочу посмотреть этот фильм, поэтому посмотрим, давайте трейлер. Посмотрим, давайте трейлер.
Так. Вот теперь нам надо сделать вещь. Да, я знаю, что завтра. Ну, точнее, уже исполняется. Мы обязательно посмотрим «Проклятие села слоненка». Извините, что я здесь просто хочу по быстрому видео сделать. Я не пойму, идет, не идет. Медленно идет, ну ладно. Представим, что это жопа какая-то. А так, да, я в курсе. Затем. Так, да. Блять, надо какой-нибудь отряд самоубийц там. Какую-нибудь картиночку поставить. Потому что мне вот это нахуй залупа не нравится. Они ничего сейчас не делают, поэтому я просто сейчас по-быстрому сделаю для вас. Это действительно будет такой быстрота полнейшая. Так. Будет чуть побольше. Тут не пойму я. А вот. Делаем значит, больше. Пока вот так вот. Где-то вот отсюда.
Прикалываете, что ли? Рисковать миссией ради размалеванной прикиды.
Давайте трейлер.
Прикалываете, что ли? Рисковать миссией ради размалеванной прикиды в костюме шута? Сказал капитан туалетная сидушка. Мы своих не бросаем. Надеюсь, Карли все еще жива.
Без самодеятельности эти люди крайне опасны.
Команда 2 на позиции.
Огонь через 3. 2.
Мальчики, чем это вы занимаетесь?
О, Хаули.
Мы пришли спасать тебя.
Вы спасать меня?
План был великолепный.
Ну, я могу зайти обратно, и вы меня спасете.
Вот сейчас обидно было.
Ой, ну прости, Харли Квинн.
Warner Brothers, Media, DC.
Условия прежние. Успешно выполняете миссию, сокращаете свой срок на 10 лет.
Блин, прикольно.
Любое неподчинение. И активирую нано-взрывчатку в основании ваших черепушек.
И это знаменитый отряд самоубийц.
От ненависимого прекрасного гения Джеймс Ганна. Ну, да, он довольно неплохие фильмы делал. О, акула! Я не помню, как ее зовут. Прости.
Вопросы?
Рука.
Она самая умничка.
Но у нас, похож, фильм такой же трешовый, как и предыдущий. То предыдущий фильм, если что, в 2016 года был, ну, такой более-менее нормальный, на 6 из 10.
Узнаем, что твоя информация недостоверна. Ты труп.
Узнаем, что поставил себе понтовые номера на тачку. Ты труп.
Что? Нет.
Будешь кашлять с открытым ртом.
Нет. Но это не значит, что тебе разрешено кашлять с открытым ртом.
Какой план?
А мне-то откуда знать?
Ты наш лидер, ты должен быть решительным.
Я решаю, что тебе пора идти
Чего,
целовать
блядь,
задницы.
видео обрабатывать?
Если бы весь этот
А,
пляж
вот
был
что.
покрыт задницами, и мне сказали бы, что ради свободы я должен их все перецеловать, я ответил бы, но проблему.
Зачем кому-то разбрасывать задницы по пляжу?
Кто знает этих ублюдков?
Летом. Они до смерти хотят спасти мир.
Это самоубийство.
Ух, нихера себе.
Не волнуйся, мы вытащим тебя отсюда живой.
Это я вытащу вас отсюда живыми.
Что за черт? У нас тут долбаная кайдзю завелась!
Отряд самоубийц.
Отряд самоубийц. Миссии на вылет. Блин. Блин. Чётко. Блин, как-то экшонщика маловато, на самом деле. Во, все главные роли. Смотри в кинотеатрах. Да. Смотри в кинотеатрах. Да. Фильм у нас должен выйти, ну, если его не перенесут, будем надеяться, должен у нас выйти он. Так, секундочку, сниму 20, по-моему, 4 августа выходит фильм. Посмотрим, что будет. Если фильм будет на 7 баллов, это будет очень круто, потому что, как я говорил, «Отряд самоубийц» мне вкатил. То есть это действительно прикольный фильм. Ну, конечно, за счет шуток своих. Я даже в игру играл, вот это на андроиде, которая была выживалка. А вот до сих пор идет интересно, сколько они вот будут этой хуйней заниматься. Так делаем.
About this, have you ever wondered what it would be like battling dinosaurs with guns? Or are you hoping to learn what kind of weapons you'll get to use in Stalker 2? Our next batch of trailers
Давай, грузись.
exciting updates to games we're all dying to play. I see you guys in the chat moving. Let's take a look at some more new gameplay trailers. Here we go.
Ну давай. Ну это игра про динозавров, которую я понял, да. Была такая тема уже. Была, ребят, такая у нас тема. Так, была у нас такая тема. Действительно. Не за счет шуток своих, я даже в игру играл, вот это надо. Так. Пошло на все. Пизду. Вроде которого была выживалка. А вот «Хищные птицы» мне вообще не понравилось. Ну, хрень полнейшая была. Поэтому жду фильм. Плюс в следующем году эти Rocksteady, кто сделал для нас Бэтменовскую
Блять.
серию Алхам. Тоже они за счет шуток своих. Я даже в игру играл, вот это на андроиде, которая была выживалка. А вот эти Rocksteady, кто сделал для нас Бэтменовскую серию Алхам, тоже для нас делают игру. Так что отряд самоубийц, сейчас я смотрю, очень даже круто в трендах, если идет фильм, игру, что там дальше сериал будет, потому что, например, есть сериал по Харли Квинн, который первый сезон был ном, второй так себе, а третий, я даже не знаю, выпустили его нет, потому что я уже перестал за этим следить. В общем, все. Как бы другие игры посмотрим, тоже надеюсь. Меня зовут Димон. Встретимся в новых роликах. Всем спасибо, всем пока и смотрите трейлер отряда самоубийц. Миссия на вылет. Пока. Трейлер отряда самоубийц. Миссия на вылет. Пока.
Так, все. Я сделал. О, что-то какая-то пиксельная игра, да?
A metal attacker embarks on a brand new adventure. The side view and top-down action
Давайте лучше засейвимся. Так, ну-ка. Типа, чтобы не терять нам качество. Не помню вот это вот. Вот он.
The pinnacle of mutant blasting action is here. Blaster Master 03.
А, ну это Blaster Master Zero, это понятно. Вы, да, 29 июня, Next. Блин, я вот не знаю, в другие части я не играл, можешь поиграть. Это понятно. Это мы уже видели.
Hi, my name is Zach, and I'm in charge of PR at GSC Game World. We made the original Stalker trilogy, and now we are developing Stalker 2. The 23rd of March marked the anniversary of the first game in the series, Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl. Celebrating the date, last year we released the first in-engine screenshot of Stalker 2, followed by the first trailer and a gameplay teaser. That was our way to celebrate 25 years of making games here at GC Game World. This year we have an anniversary gift for our fans as well. It's an update on Stalker 2. It's not as big as a new trailer just yet, but we hope you will enjoy it. Let's start with something familiar, yet completely renewed. And here is the first look at the updated
Ну, ничего такого не будет, конечно.
The zone is a dangerous place, so it's filled with different factions. The freedom and the duty are two iconic opposing forces. The first ones see the zone as a free, ever-growing state, while the second ones would eagerly sacrifice their lives to prevent its spreading. These ideologies will never meet the agreement. As you may have guessed, you will see them in the sequel. The recognizable design for each faction has been enriched with details. If you look closely, you can see scuffs, scratches, and sticking out threads. Please keep in mind the models are still work in progress. The time has passed and the new forces emerged in the zone. You can expect to see more factions in Stalker 2. Let's move
Это фигня-то.
The reception of Stalker 2 has been extremely positive so far, and we are truly grateful for that. Thank you for your passion and your interest. Stalker 2 is a shooter game, and you can't imagine it without the guns, right? Here are a couple of guns you will see in the game. The arsenal will include more than 30 different weapons. Of course, there will be lots of modifications for each gun.
Так, пока у меня есть шанс. Так, давай быстрей. Так, надеюсь, что все заебись будет. Да, почти 3 часа, представьте, уже идут они. Офигеть, вот это долго. Вот это конфа у них длинная, я ебал маму.
Finally, let's finish with something completely unexpected. We work a lot to fill the world with a decent amount of memorable details, and sometimes it takes us to completely unexpected grounds. Can you see this guy? Quite a charmer, if you ask me. But let's take a closer look at his teeth.
Ничего нету.
And the tooth is gone, or changed, or replaced with a dental crown. All made with our custom teeth tool, one of the many plugins we use in the development process for specific changes like that. These tiny accents ensure each character looks completely unique. Literally every human in Stalker 2 has one-of-a-kind smile. Or grin, I suppose. And that covers up our news for today. Please subscribe to our official social channels to receive up-to-date info about the game or ask any questions. We would be pleased to share more about Stalker 2, including gameplay demonstration, later this year. Until then, good hunting, Stalkers.
Ooh-wee. My gosh. I mean, there was so much hype in the chat for Stalker 2. I mean, wow, I'm blown away. For those to be a work in progress, they were so detailed. My gosh. What did you think about that, Trisha?
Yeah, I mean, hyper-realism. So thank you, Zach, for that update on Stalker 2. I saw a lot of support in chat for the dev team. A lot of love, like you said, Brianna, for this game. The updated costumes look super realistic and fantastic. We got an in-depth look at some of those weapons. And that tooth customization. Super, super realistic and definitely unexpected for me. I saw 667 Dealos in chat says these graphics are so dope. WTF sexy headphones, which I love. Your name, your Twitch name says absolutely cannot wait to play this game. Yet I hope that the devs take all the time they need to make it right. So
absolutely.
I saw a couple people in chat saying like, take your time, let's make this the best game ever. And yeah, it was cool that Zach was able to stop by and show us that update of what they have so far for Stalker 2.
Absolutely. And I love what you said too. I feel like it is so important to give developers the time that they need to push these games out and allow them to do them properly. I know there's so much hype behind so many different games, but developers are people too. They need some time. They need to take the rest that they need. Give them some time. And don't worry, you guys will be happy. Just a little bit of patience.
I'm always a fan. I will be patient and I will wait for the game to be awesome. So again, thank you, Zach, for that update. Up next, streamer Technique will sit down with director Luis Antonio about his new game, 12 Minutes, an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. Let's take a look at that trailer now.
All right, close your eyes.
Так, это что-то мы видели, похоже, а?
Look at its content.
А, да ладно, ты говорил. Ой. Дата выхода не может быть.
Look at it as a whole, then silently repeat these phrases. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from fear. May you know peace and joy.
Это я в курсе этой темы. Ну, написано
Hello
выйдет в стриме.
everyone, welcome back, and imagine being
Когда
stuck
точно?
in a
Время вот.
thriller-themed 12-minute time loop over and over again to figure out what's going on in your life. Well, today I have the pleasure to bring in Luis, the director of 12 Minutes, joining me here as Technique, as you guys know. Luis, I am this game, when I first saw it at E3, I was just like, what is this and what's happening? Because it reminded me of an old movie called Butterfly Effect a long time ago. I remember seeing it when I was younger, and it blew my mind. Can you introduce yourself and tell the chat a little bit about yourself and about this game, 12 Minutes?
Hey, Technique. Yeah, definitely. So 12 Minutes is is an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. The whole game happens inside an apartment. You come home from work, you're having an evening with your wife, then this guy shows up. He accuses your wife of murder, and then he attacks you, you pass out, and then you go back to the start of the evening. And then you have to use the knowledge that you accumulate every loop to try to change the outcome and hopefully break the loop. It all happens inside the apartment. It's all in real time, and the game doesn't really tell you what to do, right? So it's kind of up to you to decide what to do based on what you experience.
I love that. It seems there's so many setups for failures and maybe one success. But before we get into all the complications of the game, we have to know, and I'm pretty sure you got hit with this question, when is the game going to be ready? Because we are ready to get our hands on this and experience 12 minutes and find out how to overcome this loop.
So the game, we're at the final stage, like final stages. We're doing QA, polishing, a lot of playtesting, making sure that the game is really smooth, finalizing the music. It's gonna come out soon, very, very soon. Definitely this year. The exact date we don't know yet, but once we do, we're gonna announce it, and it's happening. It's definitely happening.
We believe you. I can see the progress over the years for sure. But we can't talk about the game without going into a little bit more detail about this. Is a cinematic thriller, so to speak, and it's very interactive. So the most important key components of this is your cast and the voiceovers and the narrator. Could you go in a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, so the whole experience, because the game never really tells you what you should be doing, it's a bit about how you interpret what's happening. And so it's a very personal, intimate environment where it's you with these two other characters, and yeah, so the voice acting is there to really help, like you gotta connect with these characters and care about what's happening in order to be able to follow the story and see where it leads.
That's a very, very important factor, is connecting with the characters and finding some kind of relatability to feel the emotion that your main character feels, or main characters, I should say. And talking about relatability, everything happens into an apartment, so the control aspect of this game has to be very important. So what kind of controls can we look forward to, the accessibility of controls in the system?
So for 12 minutes, I wanted to... it's kind of a point-and-click game, but a bit cleaner than the old ones where you never quite know what's going to happen. You have objects in the apartment, like on the trailer you can see he picked up a knife, there could be a mug, there's the plates. So anything you can pick up, you can combine with other characters or with yourself. And then there's things you can, like, open the door, close the door. And it might seem that it's not that many interactions, but each one, the characters react to everything you do. So very quickly it branches out into many possibilities.
Всем салют, с вами Димон, и в сети наконец-то вышел первый другой, то есть это типа перезапуск, поэтому давайте посмотрим. Трейлер идет недолго, очень сильно хочу посмотреть этот фильм, поэтому посмотрим, давайте трейлер.
Прикалываете, что ли? Рисковать миссией ради размалеванной прикесы в костюме, что ты сказал капитан туалетная сидушка. Мы своих не бросаем. Надеюсь, Карли все еще жива.
Без самодеятельности. Эти люди крайне миссию сокращаете.
Ну, да, он довольно неплохой фильм. Предыдущий фильм США.
Куда знать? Ты наш лидер, ты должен быть в заднице.
Они до смерти хотят спасти мир.
Это самоубийство.
Ух, нихера себе.
Это самоубийство.
Ух, нихера себе.
Это самоубийство.
Ух, нихера себе. Надо побыстрее тогда что делать. Так, ну-ка. Мы нахуй все это удаляем. И по-быстрому делаем еще. Так, ну у них... Ну, у них что есть, у меня тоже есть время. Так, я уже вроде как все скачал. Блять. Вот это вроде как. Приветствую. Тут неожиданно, совершенно прям неожиданно, появился трейлер новой игры по Астерикс и Обеликс, но совершенно прям новой игры. Перед тем, как посмотрю, кое-что расскажу. Дело в том, что с 2018 года у Астериксов пошел тренд такой каждый год выпускать игру. То есть в 2018 выпустили ремастер. Второй части, которую я стримил, но не допрошел, к сожалению, из-за скукоты, но из-за того, что много отсылок, я, конечно, догорал, может, как-нибудь вернемся. В 2019 году вместе с моим другом Спешером, кстати, благодаря которому нему я узнал, что есть трейлер, спасибо ему. Вот. Мы тоже играли часа два где-то что ли, еще на лайв-канале, когда мы кинули в 2019 году, там вышла третья часть, это уже... Фу ты, блядь, это немножко совсем не то. Блядь, дебил. Ну то как? Тоже играли часа два где-то что ли, на лайв-канале, когда мы кинули в 2019 году, там вышла третья часть. Вот теперь другое дело. Это уже такая была, то есть первая, вторая часть были в 3D, а это был такой 2D уже битэмапчик, если что. Вот в прошлом году, в 2020 году, они выпустили переиздание. Первой части, ну там что-то лучше, ну говорят, что так себе, конечно, получилось. Но я вообще в первую часть даже не играл, ну я имею в виду в оригинал играл, но вот этот ромастер, как они назвали, не играл. И сейчас вот появился трейлер совершенно новой игры, он идет очень мало, всего там 36 секунд, но тем не менее,
Я всегда стараюсь уменьшить себя, потому что меня... Так, нам надо какое-нибудь изображение, что ли, получается. Ну, что-то типа такое. А, нет, подожди. Так, и кидаем трейлер. Так, ну-ка. Так, и немножко... Уехал куда-то. Блять, сука! Ёбаный ты насос. Ну, только не говори мне, что какие-то проблемы. Они мне нахуй не нужны. Блин. Блин, и где мне? Ой, далеко, далеко. Что-то далековато. Иди в жопу. Так. Блять, просто все заново, вы представляете? Так нахуй время мало, нет, они, блядь, мне еще. И вот так, чтобы я нахуй совсем уже. Чтобы ухнул. Да ёб твою мать. Я не буду сюда. Так, ну-ка. Давай-ка вот здесь лучше мы заставимся. Хуй знает, потеряем еще, не дай бог, сохранение ебаный. Нет, 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 я хотел сейф. Да ёб твою мать. Так. Блять. Ёб твою мать, как мне это бесит. На 100% все намного. Блять, я не вижу. Сука. Это говно. Наконец-то, хоть так не будем терять время. Да ёб твою мать, ты чё, угораешь, что ли? Двадцать первый. Блять, как-то плохо видно. Ну и вот это вот. Так, ну-ка. Нажал. Ладно. 500 мегабайт уже будет. Ну, нормально. О, нет. Все, пизда, я понял. А, нет, все нормально. Фу, это лагал. Я думал, пизда. Смотри, с такой стороны. Так, вот так.
Console and PC this year. Thanks for stopping by.
Demigods, ascend!
はい、こんにちは、野島和重と申します。ですね、普段は日本の大手の、メーカーさんの、割と大作みたいな感じの、ロールプレイングゲームのシナリオを書かせてもらってます。
崎本と申します。作曲家と、あとは、サウンドプロデューサーなどをやってることが多いです。あと、ベーシスケープという会社の、運営をしています。代表作は、多分一番有名なのは、スクエア社の、ファイナルファンタジー12でしょうかね。
アストリア・アセンディングの中では、私は、世界観の設定と、あと、プロット、ストーリーと、細々としたセリフまでやってます。はい。
ミュージックディレクターだと思います。はい。もちろん、作曲もしています。はい。
ストーリー上っていうか設定上、この星に住んでる人たちは、調和の実っていうのを食べてて、ある意味、その本能的な部分は抑えちゃってるんですよね。鳥はあんまり高く飛べなくなっちゃったし、猛獣系のやつらはちょっと筋力が落ちたりしてるんで、それでなんとか調和を保ってるんですけども、テーマ的にはそのあたりですかね。もう我々にとっての調和の実っていうのは何だろうみたいな。
お話はそうですね、かなりシビアに展開してきますね。なんで、その人の大義とは何なんだろうとか、何かを守りたかったりして、そういうのってその人間が動くその根本的な原動力だと思うんですけど、その結果どういうことが起こっていくのかなとか、そうですね。そういうことを結構突きつけられる感じのゲームだと思います。
主人公たちはデミゴットっていう、その調和を守るための戦隊みたいな感じなんですよね。国民の中から、割とランダムに選ばれて3年間の任期を務め上げるんです。
ディレクターのジュリアンさんからも言われていたんですけど、とにかくそういうその人間が嫌いになるような感じにはしないでほしい。人間のその可能性をちゃんと信じられるものにしてほしいっていうふうに言われていて、それは多分一番大きなそのテーマなんじゃないですかね。
主人公たちがそのデミゴットに選ばれるまでは普通の人たちなんですよね。それぞれ幸せだったりいろんな問題を抱えてたりする普通の人たちなので、その人たちが、何でしょう、特に仕事として、平和を守るっていうその葛藤とか喜びとかを描こうとしました。
先ほど少し触れましたが、その旋律とかモチーフとかをゲームの中のその音の機能としても使ってるんですね。でも実はそういうのをすごいやりすぎるとだんだん音楽から遠くなっていっちゃうんですよ。なのでそういうことがないようにちゃんと音楽としてもうまく機能するし、サウンドトラックとしても機能するし、あとはそういう記号としても機能するみたいな、そういうところを目指してやりましたので、そこはうまくいくといいですね。僕自身はやっぱりゲームが大好きでこの業界に入ってきてるので、ゲームに対してこうあってほしいみたいな、それとか、あとは昔自分が遊んでて楽しかったゲームに対してのなんか思い出とか、あとはその思い出補正入りだと思うんですけど、そういうものがもっともっともっと素晴らしく表現されていていいなっていうか、その世界に入れるといいなっていうふうなのを思っていて、それに近づけるためにずっと音を作ってるんだと思うんですよね。なので、このゲームはそういった意味で、 まあ、うまくそれが効いてるといいんですけどね、まあ、その辺はユーザーさんの反応を見て、まあ、評価が出されるんじゃないでしょうか。そういうのはぜひ味わっていただきたいですね。
まあ私の仕事とは直接関係ないんですけど、絵は綺麗ですよね。あとキャラクターのアニメーションとかが、まあ私なんかこうなんとなくアートを感じるんですけども、そこはなんか自分にとっては新鮮なんで、皆さんも楽しんでいただけるんじゃないかなと思っています。
何が起こってるの？まさか死んじゃったなんてことはないよね。
Oh man, how awkward was that poor meeting in the last Stop trailer? Like I felt it in my soul, Brianna. How awkward it was for that guy. What'd you think?
I mean, you know what? I really appreciated that for Last Stop. They gave us a demo. I feel like so often with gameplay trailers, you don't really know what's going on, or sometimes the trailer doesn't really reflect how the actual gameplay is. So big shout out to them. I am very excited for it, but I'm also very excited for this next section coming up. Now, we've learned Game Pass. Well, I think we have the answer for you. Let's take a look.
Shake on my arrival. Unleash that beast. Let my claws out, show my teeth. Stop dancing and get to it. They can't stop my fire. All they can do is just watch me climb higher. They can't stop my fire. All they can do is just watch me climb. Play up, keep going, 'cause I'm going strong.
Ну что, наконец начинает? Боже ты мой, как они долго? Отлично. Так, ну все, значит. Понятно. Так, ну давайте говорите, что конец. Мне будет легче.
Game Pass hype! So many great games coming to Game Pass. I mean, like, I've tried to keep track of them all, but they were flying at me so fast. Celeste, Wild at Heart, Nobody Saves the World, The Ascent, and for everyone who's been asking for it in chat, Library of, is it Ruina or Ruina? I know I'm going to say it wrong, but yes, coming to Game Pass, which is super exciting. Game Pass is so dope. Harrison Ave, I see you there in chat. But yeah, so we've seen a lot of great games today. We've seen a lot of teases, and of course, super hyped. Brianna and I are both super hyped about what is coming to Game Pass. But I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who's joined on the show today. We had Chris Charla from ID at Xbox earlier, Victoria Tran from Inner Sloth for Among Us, Gwen and Trina were here to talk about from Chicon Club to talk about Soup Pot. Lewis was here just recently to talk about 12 Minutes. Graham and Ian talking about Nobody Saves the World, which was awesome, from Drinkbox Studios. Zach and Lou were from Bunny Hug, and they were here talking about Moonglow Bay. Mark and David were here from Acid Nerve talking about Death's Door. And of course, a huge thank you to all of our streamer friends and guest hosts who were here today. Kate Stark, Stallion83, Danatage, Technique, and Blind Gamer Steve. You guys were all awesome, and Brianna and I literally couldn't have done the show and shown you all of these wonderful indie games without you. So, yeah, Brianna, how you feeling?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're at the end of our show. This was so amazing to be a part of and
Так, нам
co-host
нужно
with you.
теперь...
I do want to take a minute to shout out
Что нам
to
надо делать?
production for holding it down behind the scenes. I know it is not easy putting these shows together and getting everyone in their right places where they need to be. So thank you. We do appreciate you. Now, if anyone's, looking for me on the internet, my name is Story Mode Bay. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if you're into that sort of thing. Come by and say hi. I promise I don't bite at all. Now, Trisha, where can everyone find you?
If people want to find me on socials, on Twitter, Instagram, etc., it's that girl Trish with no I in the girl, so just that GRL Trish. Or right here on Twitch, you can find me at Trisha Hirschberger, just my name. It's like right there. Yeah, right there. But this has been so much fun. If you are an indie games fan, I do an indie games showcase on my channel every Tuesday, but you can expect to see lots of AAAs and stuff on my channel as well. But we have a real good time. Stop on by and say hi to the Dragon Rider Army. And thank you to everybody who's been here in chat, who's been commenting. We see you. Thank you for participating in the show. And also shout out to anyone who's co-streaming this event today. I know all the things here on Twitch Gaming are co-streamable. So to all my co-streamers out there, what's up, and thank you. So again, just thanks to everyone who was part of the showcase today. I hope you found a new indie game to fall in love with, and we'll see you soon with more great content here on Twitch Gaming. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Так вот. Блин, забыл, надо было. Так. Конференцию. Не помню, конференцию. Давайте попробуем. Типа вот я скину куда-то. Вот это вот. Опять игры, ну я не понимаю смысла этой конференции вообще. Да ладно, вы закончили. Быть такого не может. Казалось, что вы никогда не закончите. Так долго, пиздец. Блять, ну выглядит странно. Что они там закончат? Так, здесь мы закончили. Нам нужны документы. Да, все, нормально, все, заебись, все. Все нахуй, заебись. Нет, ты не понял. Че за бред? Так, ну-ка. Да, блядь. Ну, блядь. Ну что, серьезно? Нет ни одного эффекта. А что, все что ли? А, все, ребята. Ура. Спасибо всем за просмотр. Это было классно.